face the Holy Cross Tigers. Hello, everybody. Ken Berthelot along with the coach, Wade Kaiser, and they've been partying since early this morning, awaiting the kickoff of the oldest rivalry in the South and one of the 10 oldest in the United States of America. Wade, you have both played and coached in this game. What does this rivalry mean to the players, coaches, and fans?
Well, the biggest thing it means is it carries on that long tradition of this game, especially for the alumni. Extremely important. Having played in this great rivalry and being very honored to play in it and coach in it, what it meant to the players and the coaches is it's a big Catholic League game that you want to win. It's a must-win for these guys. So they prepare all week, they work hard all week to get another Catholic League win.
Holy Cross won their Catholic League opener last week against Shaw, while Jesuit lost their opener to St. Aug. So it's very important for the Blue Jays to get back on the winning ways tonight. If they do so, they're probably going to rely on one of their big guns, and that is wide receiver Kalijah Lipscomb.
Number 17, Kalijah Lipscomb. Best hands on the field tonight for Jesuit. They're going to have to get some touches of that football. That's the bottom line. You know, I understand it. Jesuit needs to be balanced. But being balanced means they're going to have to get the ball in the hands of number 17. So look for 17 tonight to get a lot of throws his way.
And if the Holy Cross Tigers are to win their second Catholic League game in a row, they're going to have to find a way to stop him, and they might put the fastest player on the field, defensive back Kyle Myers, on him tonight.
4.35 speed. He's an Arizona State commit. Tell you what, he's their shutdown guy, Ken. Look for Jesuit to throw on the other side of the field from where number 1 is lined up tonight.
Sounds like a great game. All set to go. This is the countdown to kickoff against Holy Cross and Jesuit, the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase. Back with more to hear from the coaches right after this. Down to kickoff for Holy Cross and Jesuit. Earlier this week, we had an opportunity to hear from both coaches about tonight's game.
Well, we're up and down. You know, we start out the year and lose a real close one to Warren Easton, come back, bounce back against St. Paul's and play well enough to win there, and go to Escambia in Florida and come back and win there as well, and then drop one to St. Aug last week, who's just a very good football team. You know, we're up and down. We're our own worst enemy, I think. You know, we make a lot of mistakes, and not taking away from any of the teams we've played or that we've lost to, but we make way too many mistakes to be able to compete effectively in this league.
We had a little adversity early in the year, a few injuries, but some of these guys are starting to come back. I like the progression of where we're heading. We still need to get better. It's a very tough district, very tough opponent this upcoming week in Jesuit, but I like our guys, and we're getting better each week.
You know, it's the 96th meeting between the two schools. I think it's got a little extra flavor to, you know, more so than any other game that we play within the Catholic League, because it's so old and there's so much tradition surrounding it. Two good football teams go out there with a great fan base. I think it's what high school football is all about.
Every game is very important, especially in the Catholic League. The important thing about this game is that it dates back to 1922. So you hear it from alum, you hear it from parents, from fans, all Holy Cross people about the importance of the game. But as far as prep goes, preparation for the game, we treat it the same way we would treat any Catholic school game, Catholic League game.
Man, much improved football team over the since last year. They're talented, on offense and defense. They're talented. I think they're extremely well coached. I think they can strike from just about anywhere on the field. They're offensively very effective, and they've been pretty stingy lately defensively. So, and special teams wise, we think they're very good as well. So, we'll have our hands full, but they're a much different and much better football team than they were a year ago.
Very disciplined group, like normal, never out of position. They always play very hard. They're improving week to week. I think Coach Sanji's done a great job with a huge graduation class last year, getting these guys ready to play week in and week out.
I think we're our own worst enemy. We tend to sabotage ourselves. I turned the ball over 5 times last week. You can't do that. We've got to eliminate mistakes. I'm much more concerned about us than our opponent, and that's not taken away from anybody that we play. But until we polish up our mistakes and stop these self-inflicted wounds, we're going to continue to see the same kind of up and down football. Once we eliminate those mistakes and are very careful with the football, I think we can play with just about anybody.
Offensively, need to protect the football and be able to run the football. Defensively, it just comes down to can we, line up correctly and stop the run and tackle. I mean, it's always been this in this game, especially who blocks better on offense and who tackles better on defense is the team that wins.
Welcome back, and thank you, coaches. We'll be right back with more of our countdown to kickoff right after this. Welcome back to Tad Gormley Stadium. Ken Berthelot along with Wade Kaiser as we await the kickoff right now. You are looking at honorees from each school, Holy Cross and Jesuit, who have enjoyed outstanding, distinguished military service to our country. The Holy Cross honoree is Rear Admiral Victor Guillory from the class of 73 with the Navy, and the Jesuit honoree from the Army is Lieutenant Colonel William Furlong from the class of 52. Those honorees are being introduced to just a great crowd here at Tad Gormley Stadium for this old rivalry. The national anthem will follow, and then we will kick off one of the oldest rivalries in the United States of America. Wade Kaiser, as you talked about in the open, you have played and coached in this. It means very much to the fans, a lot because it's a big game and a rivalry to the players and coaches.
Well, that's correct. There's no doubt about it. And I said, I talked about in the pregame how important it is to the alumni. And there are people all over the world that are tuning in tonight, whether it's radio, looking at it on television tonight, going to enjoy this great rivalry since 1922.
All right, it's time to hear our national anthem as we get set to hear the Holy Cross Marching Band with tonight's national anthem. All right, let's meet the third member of our broadcast team tonight, Stephanie Altman, our field reporter. Let's go downstairs to Stephanie.
Thank you, Ken. Tonight's matchup is one that both schools look forward to every year. I had a chance to speak with some students from Holy Cross for weeks. Both schools have been outside tailgating since early this afternoon. There's even a parade an hour before kickoff where both bands, cheerleaders, and legends from past teams march into the stadium. It's a great atmosphere tonight and a great night for football. Ken and Wade, back to you.
And you can see some of the tailgating that went on, people just enjoying it. There's part of the parade with the bands from both schools taking part. And I think Coach Sanji said it best during the week. We have a festival, we have a parade, and then a football game breaks out. And this football game that's going to break out has got fabulous weather, fall weather at its best, 74 degrees. But look at the winds, north at 15 miles an hour. That's blowing from the closed end to the open end of our stadium. That's, as you watch it on our cameras, to the right, from left to right. The wind is blowing. Holy Cross will have the wind with them in this first quarter.
The wind's going to be a factor tonight, Ken. I was down there in the field earlier before the game and watching both kickers kick and quarterbacks throw. Tonight, the wind will have some sort of effect on the kicking game.
Gavin Broussard will kick it off for Holy Cross, and Holy Cross has been using the pooch kick, the short kick. And last week, after a long sustained drive in the victory over Shaw, they pooch kicked and recovered for a long onside kick. 3 plays later, they were in the end zone again. So the Tigers utilized a little bit of their razzle-dazzle early, and now we're ready to play football. The oldest rivalry, one of the oldest in the United States, is underway. Blue Jays pull it down to the 20 and return to the 25. Slattery, Evan Slattery, with that recovery, and the Blue Jays will have some field position, pretty good field position to start this off, and right away we will see quarterback Peter Hodges, the 6'1", 200-pound senior, who spent the last 2 years playing behind Tanner Lee and Trey LaForge, mostly mop-up roles, come in. It's been his team this year.
Well, tonight you're going to have to see Jesuit be extremely balanced. You can see Peter Hodges there, 52% completion rate on the year, 541 yards, 4 TDs. He's going to have to manage the game tonight and get the ball into the right hands of his athletes.
And the Jays will keep it on the ground with Connor Pruitt on first down on the left side run. And immediately, referee.
Not a good way to start the night off on the first play of the game for the Holy Cross Tigers. You don't want to get into a pattern of giving up cheap yards like this as a defense.
And that was a big one right off the bat, moving the ball up to the 49-yard line of Jesuit. So the Blue Jays are ready to go with a new first down to work with.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Holy Cross tonight, a lot of their four-man fronts in order to stop the Jesuit running game. And, you know, Connor Pruitt is a key to that Jesuit running game, along with that strong offensive line that they have up front for the Blue Jays.
Pruitt's rushed for 531 yards this season, averages almost 6 yards a carry, and he'll carry it again on second down, getting 6 and more, breaking tackles and moving the chains on the very first play, pushing the ball into Holy Cross territory. Let's take a look at the Jesuit key players on the offense.
Well, the number one key player you see right there out of those three guys is number 20, Connor Pruitt. He's a strong downhill running back who has been averaging 5.8 yards a carry. He's a solid, durable running back that has great vision. Kalijah Lipscomb's going to have to touch the ball tonight. I talked about it in the pregame. He's got probably the best hands on that Blue Jay team out there. They're going to have to get the ball in his hands. And then a 3-year starter, Corey Dublin, at left offensive tackle, number 72.
John Sewell, the starting center, a 6', 275-pound senior, is down back at the original line of scrimmage. And that's a guy right now that the Blue Jays cannot afford to lose.
Well, it's always tough when you lose part of your battery. I mean, the bottom line now is now they're over on the sidelines getting snaps with the second center. All right, and it's very important that they get some quick snaps going into the next set of downs, simply because you don't want to put the ball on the ground. The second center will probably be Richard Besselman, a junior, 5'9", 210-pound center that also does the deep snapping and the short snapping roles on all PATs and field goals. But he's up walking off the field, which is awesome for John Sewell. You don't ever see a young man get hurt, and he looks like he is walking off on his own power.
But Besselman will come in for a play at least, if not more. And Jesuit, that started this drive back at their own 26-yard line with the help of a 15-yard penalty and a 14-yard gain by Connor Pruitt, has moved it all the way down now to the 37-yard line of Holy Cross. Pruitt, 2 rushes, 22 yards already in this ball game, making his presence known for the Blue Jays. If it's working, why change it? Stay with the ground game and just go straight ahead.
Well, inside zone right there, you're going to see a lot of that
Pruitt
tonight
again.
from both sides. You're going to see the inside zone power running game, the outside zone stretch game. Right there you saw Pruitt running the inside zone game behind the Jesuit offensive line. But what you did see is you saw a couple of missed tackles right there by Holy Cross. That's something that they can afford to do tonight.
Take a look at the Holy Cross defensive key players to watch right after this play, as Hodges is ready for the snap, and he'll give it to Connor Pruitt again. This time the Tigers stuff him at the line of scrimmage, nowhere to go. And that gives us a chance to look at that Holy Cross defense and some of the key players that have been so key for the Tigers.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was a great tackle right there by the big key player, number 28, Jacques Boudreau, leading tackler on the Holy Cross defense.
Explain.
An outside linebacker and defensive end tonight. He's a hybrid outside linebacker. And then Kyle Myers, who we talked about in our pregame, going to Florida State, one of the best athletes on the field tonight.
Richard Besselman remains in there as the backup center for the Blue Jays. Here's the toss over to the right side. Kalijah Lipscomb has it, and Lipscomb goes down, fumbles. Ball's loose, big scramble for it, and Looks like Holy Cross has come up with the football, and they have on a turnover.
That was Jack Heidingsfelder on that turnover. That's the first turnover tonight for the Blue Jays. Last week they had 5. One of the things that Coach Sanji talked about in his meeting earlier this week with us was they have to eliminate mistakes. Jesuit did a great job getting the ball out on the wide receiver screen. The Lipscomb right there, but look how he's holding that ball, Ken. He's got it out and away from his body. In comes the knockout on the tackle and picked up by Heidingsfelder. And I tell you what, that's a big turnover right to start off the bat here in the first quarter for the Holy Cross Tigers.
Holy Cross gets it at their own 25-yard line. 1st and 10, and we're watching a young freshman quarterback, Chandler Fields, operate this offense. Wasn't expecting the play. Hands off to Trey Turner. And you'll hear his name a lot tonight. Trey Turner, not much on the left side, but Chandler Fields, 5'10", 175, started this season in place of Kyle Schecksnyder, who re-injured that same ankle that gave him problems at the end of last year.
Well, there's Chandler Fields right there. He's 53% on the year, completion rate, 665 yards, 7 TDs. I tell you what, talking with Coach Roboto before the game, they're extremely high on this young man. He's going to have a great future in front of him. What he is a very smart, headsy football player.
And what he does is not make a lot of mistakes. He's only put the ball on the ground twice, lost 1 fumble, and he's accounted for 9 touchdowns. So don't make mistakes. Do what they ask you to do, and that's what Chandler Fields has done. He'll hand off to Trey Turner again, trying the middle of the Jesuit defense and not quite moving the chain, so it'll be 3rd down and short. Take a look at the Holy Cross Tiger offensive key players in this game, including the guy that's been running the football, Trey Turner.
Trey Turner, number 3, an Arizona State commit, coming off a shoulder injury the past couple of weeks, but he's ready to go tonight according to Coach Roboto. He's rushed for 115 yards last week against Shaw. Then you see Darius Rodriguez, a really fine wide receiver, and leading the way up front will be Gavin Sisson, an offensive lineman. He's been a 3-year starter for the Tigers.
3rd down and about 4. And the Tigers will go to the air for the first time. It is caught. And a nice catch by Brett Carter. And is that enough? It is enough to move the chains. 1st down, Holy Cross.
Well, what you got right there, you had the 90 game. You've heard me talk about that before. The 90 game is the quick throwing games. 1, 2, 3, get the ball out quick. Great way to put Connor. You'll see him on punt returns. You will see him tonight somewhere on the offense handling the ball as a running back, but he is their shutdown corner who you will see do a lot of things in this game tonight. He's a tremendous athlete. Zach Robert, 2-year starter at defensive end, and Crozier, Cameron Crozier right there, who is their leading tackler on defense.
Yeah, number 4 on defense, Wiley. They might as well just put an S next to that 4, Superman. He's a 4-way threat. We'll explain that later as Trey Turner moves very close to another 1st down for the Tigers. One thing Holy Cross's offense has done very, very well, Wade, is it is a 1st down. He did get enough for the 1st down, so they moved the chains. The Tigers have done a great job with sustained drives, usually off the running of Trey Turner.
Well, Trey Turner's kind of been dinged up the past couple of weeks, but he's done enough for 41 rushes, 222 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He is their horse. He's their workhorse. And they changed their offense this year, Ken. You know, all the years that I've coached against Barry Wilson and the Holy Cross teams, they've been spread, throw the ball offenses. They come in and put in a pro-style I offense for Trey Turner.
And it has worked oh so well as the young freshman quarterback will toss complete to Brett Carter again, and Carter has another 1st down inside the Jesuit 40-yard line before being gang tackled, but Holy Cross is finding some openings and ways to move the football.
Deep curl route right in front of the zones, finding the hole in the zones right here. Starts with the protection up front. Freshman sets his feet, throws the ball, nice route, nice break off right there by Carter, right underneath the zone, and then it becomes a nice big game, nice pickup for another 1st down for the Tigers.
Pickup of 16 yards, ball at the 37-yard line, 1st down 10. Here come the Tigers, and you've just got to be impressed with Chandler Fields, this young quarterback. This run goes nowhere. Up the middle, stuffed very quickly by Cameron Crozier.
Cameron Crozier comes off of the edge on a Willie blitz or an outside linebacker blitz. You're going to see the defensive coordinator, Troy Baglio, does an excellent job. One of the better defensive line coaches in the state of Louisiana and an outstanding defensive coordinator. Will have to move his front around and bring blitzes in order to make sure he applies some sort of pressure and run stops to be able to stop this Holy Cross running game.
On this drive, Trey Turner, 5 rushes for 17 yards. Chandler Fields moves into the gun. Throws it over to the right side, and that was a wobble. Did somebody get a tip on that one?
But right in his face, they brought a blitz off the edge again. Coming off of the edge again, gets up in the air and averts the throw from the quarterback Fields. You see right there, gets a little finger on the ball. Did get a finger on the ball right there. They were bringing the blitz off the edge, and he does a nice job tipping it away.
And what that does is bring up a third, the first third down and very long for Holy Cross on this drive. Coming up on the 9th play of this drive. 3rd down 9. Fields on the run. He'll toss it, has a man open, and it is caught. The big tight end Tyler Lamb, the senior, for the first down and almost the score, but they stop him before he can get there. And what a good throw by Chandler Fields.
What I like by Fields right there is, look, nothing's open right there. He has to evade the rush a little bit, move to his right, keeps his eyes down the field. You always hear me talk about keeping your eyes down the field because then it becomes a scramble drill. Tyler Lamb finds a hole open, and he gets dumped off to him for the big first down and sets it up right inside the 10-yard line.
33-yard gain to big Tyler Lamb, brings up first down and goal from the 3-yard line. They're going to ask Trey Turner to take it to the outside, but Jesuit steps him and a flag is down.
We're on 3. We're on the 3rd-yard line.
Had a flag right there, right at the snap. Great job by Jakari Wiley, right, coming up right there, setting the edge for the Jesuit defense.
Well, referee Bob Taylor.
Illegal formation. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
They'll back it up 5 yards from the previous spot. He'll still be first down, puts him in a long first down situation.
So down first and goal from the 8 rather than the 3. Again, once again, you look at this young freshman quarterback, Chandler Fields, and we are expecting to see some of the senior Kyle Schexnayder, but Schexnayder had an injury last year with his ankle.
And there's a good look at Chandler Fields right there. So far, 3 for 4 on the night, 55 yards. The very headsy freshman. But you're going to hear those words from him tonight, inside zone and outside zone. So just kind of let me clarify a little bit. Inside, they're going to try to run in between the tackles and try to get vertical. Outside, they want to get off of the edge, more like a toss sweep.
Holy Cross with a timeout, no score. Tigers driving, back in a minute. What helped the Holy Cross Tigers last week in their victory over Shaw was long sustained drives. This first drive for Holy Cross has already taken up 5:49 off the clock. It's been a 10-play, 67-yard drive. They're at the 9-yard line, 2nd and goal for the Tigers. He'll use a full house backfield. Fields under center. He's looking to lob one into the corner. It's tipped up, incomplete.
Tell you what, great effort right there by Jandon Briscoe.
Trying for Tyler Lamb, too.
Yeah, giving up a little bit of height right there on the fade route to Lamb. They're in man coverage over there. The junior, Jandon Briscoe, does a great job right there, deflecting the ball right in the guy's grill. Perfect coverage right there by that young corner.
3rd down goal from the 9. Both of these teams have very good field goal kickers with 40-yard range. However, into the wind might be a little different going the other way. With the wind, this would be just a chip shot if the Tigers can't convert. Play action. Fields on the run. Fields being chased on the throw. Man open in the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Flag is down, however. Hold on. It's caught by Acuna, Andre Acuna, a backup junior tight end.
I think it's going to be on Jesuit, all indications.
Holding. Defense. Penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Touchdown's good.
I think our referee pointed in the wrong direction right there. He meant to be pointing in the other direction, but it was defensive holding on Jesuit, and they'll assess the penalty on the kickoff.
Gavin Broussard to attempt the point after, and he does. Kicks it through. Holy Cross has the early 7-0 lead in this big rivalry on the throw from Chandler Fields to Andre Acuna, the tight end. We'll be back right after this. Work hard.
You know, I've noticed something already about Holy Cross kickoffs tonight. They're going to make sure that they don't put the ball into number 4, Jakari Wiley's hands. Their fine kick and punt returner. If you notice right there, that one was kicked in the direction of Kalijah Lipscomb, who is absolutely speedy in his own right, but they've decided to keep the ball out of Wiley's hands on the kicking game.
And I can understand that. First down for the Blue Jays. Started their first drive on the ground, had success with Connor Pruitt running the football, and they start the second drive the same way. 5-yard gain for Pruitt.
Pruitt breaks his first tackle. That's one thing I'm impressed with this young man. And you're going to see him run the inside zone. There's the zone steps right there. Here comes the first missed tackle, and then here comes Kenny Abear, number 21, to come in and clean him up right there. But what I like about Pruitt is he runs through the first tackle. He runs through the first tackle, and that means it's a trademark of a very fine running back.
Builds up that head of steam. He's hard to bring down. This time, however, the Tigers, coming in hard from the right side, are there to make this stop. A number of players, including Kyrie Currington and Taylor Fleming.
Right there, I think he made the wrong cut. He needed to cut to his right there, and it was an oops and went the wrong way, and boom, right there to meet him was the Holy Cross defense. Right there, bang, number 6.
Kyrie
Does a great
Currington.
job. Kyrie Currington does a great job tackling that young man right there.
That'll bring up a 3rd down and 2 for the Blue Jays with the dangerous Kalijah Lipscomb up to the top side of your screen. Play action, Otis being chased, escapes a tackler, puts his head down, dives, and might have the first down. It's going to be close. The key move for Hannes was escaping the would-be tackler, which would have thrown him for a loss.
Right here, you can see they fake the inside zone, and then it's the bootleg actions trying to slip the fullback, number 7, Zach Young, out in the flats. But I tell you what, that's a coverage job. Well done by Holy Cross right there. He had nowhere to go with that football. So he tucks it, runs, and he picks up the first down.
Very impressive. As a matter of fact, Peter Hannes that time looked a little bit like Daddy Rock Hannes when he played for the Tulane Green Wave years ago. The running game won't work second time around. And another flag is thrown into the pile on the tackle after about a 1-yard gain.
Got a lot of Holy Cross Tigers right there in on that tackle, so looking like possibly some sort of face mask maybe.
Face mask. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
5-yard penalty, as we have seen now this year. There's the difference between the personal foul, 15-yard, and the brushing or slightly grabbing, the 5-yard, less intrusive penalty of the face mask. Let's see if we can see it. It's right there inside the. Oh, there it is, right there.
There it is, right there.
It wasn't so much the face mask as it was the back of the helmet. With the new Federation rules, everything that's on the helmet becomes part of the face mask.
Part of the face mask. Good rule, too, because that protects the players. Pruitt on the right side hit the line hard, got hit hard, and is brought down.
Great tackle right there by Jacques Boudreaux. This is the leading tackler on the Holy Cross football team. He's a ULL commitment, 6'2", 227 linebacker.
Watch the hit.
Boom, right there. But you know what I like about that hit right there? He comes right in there, and he sticks the shoulder in there. With all the head injuries we're hearing about today, it's the shoulder that keeps the head out of the game. Good fundamental tackle right there by Boudreaux.
Leading tackler, as you said, with 45 tackles, a sack, and 7 hurries, all to his credit. Second down, 2 for the Blue Jays. Connor Pruitt runs into his own man in the backfield, but still manages to push up near the 45-yard line. He got to the line, and that should be enough to move the chains.
Kenny Carradine right there on the stop, 5'10", 215-pound junior, but it's going to be a close.
It might just be about a half-yard short. Looks like third and maybe not even a yard for Jesuit here. We're in the final minute of play in the first quarter. Had a 45-second fast-moving first quarter in this football game. Malachi Hull wide to the right, top of your screen. Kalijah Lipscomb, bottom of your screen with man coverage. Jays are going straight ahead, trying to get the first, and they get it. They needed to just get up to about the 45.5-yard line, and that will move the chains for Jesuit. With 16 seconds to play in the first quarter of this old rivalry, not only in the city of New Orleans, but in the United States of America. Good look at Connor Pruitt and Peter Hannes, number 15, the quarterback.
Well, they've got in there at center now Nicholas Gothay. They ran right behind Nicholas Gothay, who is in there for apparently injured John Sewell. I do know that they will rotate a lot of offensive linemen for Jesuit. They've done that the past 2 weeks.
We played 1 quarter here at Tad Gormley, and the Holy Cross Tigers lead the Jays by a touchdown. Back right after this.
Hello, I'm
Well, you can see some of the Jesuit crowd across the way, the Holy Cross crowd beneath our cameras here, and they're doing a great job of filling up Tad Gormley Stadium in City Park, New Orleans. We start the second quarter of play. Holy Cross 7, Jesuit nothing. Blue Jays with only their second possession of this football game. So with Jesuit and Holy Cross eating up the first quarter in their first possessions, Jesuit started their second possession with a few minutes to go in the first quarter, and here we go. We carry into the second quarter of play.
Well, that's what happens when you're running the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the idea. They're trying to control the clock. And, I talked about Jesuit, what they need to do, and they've gone back. They haven't gone back to it yet, should I say. They haven't gone back to Kalijah Lipscomb yet. I wouldn't be surprised with their turning of the possession here in the quarter, going with the win this time if they don't open up throwing the ball a little bit out there to try to balance their offense.
Connor Pruitt is the running back. Play action to him, and there's Hannes looking to throw, and he does to Kalijah Lipscomb on this down, and Lipscomb moves the chains again on first down.
See Watson, see?
That's bootleg action right there. And
that was Evan Slattery. Pardon me, check that.
Right, you can see the bootleg action off the inside zone. He boots right there, and there's Slattery delaying a 2-second count off of the edge and slipping out into the flats. Great catch right there by Evan Slattery.
Evan Slattery, not only good hands there, but a power runner on short yardage and goal line situations where he can take it and then just power forward for a few yards to get into the end zone for scores or across the marker for the first down. Connor Pruitt with the carry this time.
Jesuit keeps pounding the inside zone right there. I'd like to see him open it up a little bit with some counter game, and maybe a little outside zone stretch off of that inside zone. So I think, those guys over there on the offense, that is Graham Jarrett, Gino Gambaluca, those guys will figure that out and do that.
On second down and 8, the throw over to the right side, caught. And inside the 40-yard line, the Jays will or be very close to another first down. Don't move the chains yet. Going to be third down and about 3 or 4, depending on the spot of the football here.
90 game, 3-step throwing game, getting the ball out there real quickly into the hands of Malachi Hall.
Malachi with a good catch.
Pound senior wide receiver who was a starter last year. He's one of the 4 starters back on this Jesuit offense from last year's state champion Division I team.
You got third down, a little bit less than 4. They'll call on Connor Pruitt. And Pruitt runs into a crowd of people on the left side, so he won't get much. And that'll bring up a fourth down for the Jays. Fourth down and about 2. A little bit more than 2. Let's call it fourth and maybe 3.
Look at the pursuit by the guys in the Navy jerseys. There's our guy again right there, Jacques Boudreau. I tell you what, I like this guy. This guy comes inside out from his middle linebacker position, does a great job right there, getting to the edge where they're running the outside zone game, and he makes a great tackle. There he is right there. Great picture of that
From
guy.
the 36-yard line on fourth down, they're going to go for it. And Connor Pruitt, nope. Yeah, Connor Pruitt does get the call. Good play action that time by Hannes. He handed it off, and Pruitt took a lot of people right up the middle with him for the first down to move the chains. That's hard running by Connor Pruitt. The kind of runner you talked about, the way he hits the line sometimes.
Great block right there by Mayu, number 66, the left guard, on the inside zone play right there. And I tell you what, almost fooled me too on the bootleg. Really good fake right there by Peter Hannes.
You can almost see Hannes coming into his own. He didn't have a great game last week. There was 5 turnovers. He threw 2 interceptions. And sometimes a quarterback will grow up in a situation like that. Malachi Hull, with a good move to the outside, slips down before he can get to the 20-yard line.
Well, you see the guys in the navy blue jerseys, those Holy Cross Tigers on defense are inching closer and closer and closer to that line of scrimmage. Right there, they had 8 guys in the box. The free safety's playing 10 yards off of the ball. They know that Jesuit's going to have to be able to run the ball on them, so they're going to try to stack that box as heavily as they can to stop the run. Jesuit needs to get the touches by those outside guys to try to loosen up that secondary some.
Second down and 4. Play action again. Here goes Hannes. He's throwing long into the end zone. Overshoots Malachi Hull, who was covered but had a half step.
Well, you know, right there they run bootleg action into the twins formation that was covered by man coverage by Kyle Myers, and C.J. White, number 4, who did a nice job on the coverage. The ball kind of took off a little bit right there on Peter. I think it's because of the wind. You know, when you have the wind to your back, everybody says, well, you can throw the ball farther and you can get more zip on the ball, but it also does a few weird things to the ball. It'll make it float a little bit every now and then, especially with a gust.
This is the 15th play of this drive, and the wind's gusting at about 20 to 25 miles an hour, hottest. Little play action, has a man again, this time Evan Slattery can't catch up to the football. He got a hand on it but couldn't pull it down. And again, that looked like what you just talked about, Wade. It looked like the wind just puffed that ball out a little bit.
Well, you're gonna see Peter set his feet right here, but he tries to throw it and touch it. All right, he needed to rifle that thing right there. He had Slattery open right down the middle of the post, down the seam. He just needed to stand in there and deliver the ball a little harder. He'll make that adjustment.
Crew Jacobs, who has 40-yard range with about a 20-mile-an-hour wind behind his back, this would be easy for him. They're going to kick it from the 29-yard line, but be a 39-yard field goal, but looks like timeout is being called by the Jesuit Blue Jays.
Well, I think there's a little issue with not having enough people on the field by the Jays. They came on with 10. They were missing a right guard, so that's why they had to be forced to take a timeout.
I want to remind everybody that Mondays on WHNO Sports, it's Sports NOLA TV. Hall of Famer Ricky Jackson, Brian Alley Walsh, and host Ken Trahan break down the Saints college and prep action. That's Sports NOLA TV each Monday at 6 here on WHNO TV. Unless they're going to back it up a little bit. Thought it might be right at the 29-yard line, but it looks like they're going to put it down at the 30. So this will be a 40-yard field goal attempt by Crew Jacobs from the right hash, and he's got about a 20 to 25-mile-an-hour wind behind him. Snap is down. Good block. Hell, he just never looked like he got that ball up in the air at all. And with that, we'll take a break as the field goal is no good. Holy Cross continues to lead 7-0. Back in a moment.
We think sports is important.
Kick that never got up.
It didn't get it up. It was blocked right in the center of the formation. Didn't even get into the end zone where it would come out to the 20-yard line. So it was covered by Holy Cross on
the 8-yard line.
8-yard line right there. So it'll be Holy Cross first down at the Jesuit 8-yard line, and the ball never got up.
16-play, 52-yard drive, took up 7 minutes and 11 seconds, and the Jays didn't get anything out of it, and that's the kind of thing I think that'll drive Coach Sanji crazy, because that's what he was so frustrated with in the mistakes that occurred last week against St. Aug.
Well, it started with not having enough players on the field. They had to waste a timeout. That'll drive you nuts. Any coach, it'll drive them nuts.
First down for the Tigers, and they will just put the ball in the hands of the big running back, Trey Turner, to try to get a few extra yards as he'll bring it up to the 11 for a 3-yard gain.
Tell you what, I like this Holy Cross offensive line. Left tackle Sisson, left guard Faulkner, center Bologna, Carpenter, right tackle, Boudreaux, right guard. These guys have gotten physical in the offseason. One of the things that Eric Robato said about his offensive line was they had a great offseason in the weight room, and you can see the way they're playing a lot more physical.
Emphasize strength and conditioning. He said if we're going to compete in the Catholic League, you've got to be very strong, otherwise you get pushed around. Look at Trey Turner breaking tackles across the 20-yard 10-yard line. He moves the chains for a first down, and there you see the vintage running of Trey Turner.
Outside zone stretch right there. It creates a seam. You can see the stretch play right there. Great job by the offensive line. And then, boom, he makes a cut north and south. He's bouncing off tacklers, running hard.
Trey Turner with excellent speed, 4.33 speed, and tonight 8 rushes, 31 yards, and getting some big ones right there to get Holy Cross out of a hole. This time the handoff fools nobody, and the Blue Jays are there to stuff Trey Turner.
Nowhere to go right there. Zach Robert, great play by this senior defensive end. You can see the stretch right there. You can see the penetration by Robert. Does a nice job tackling him, nice and physical right there. And the rest of the white jerseys come inside out on pursuit.
Loss of 3, second down, 13 for Holy Cross. Moving the ball back to their own 19-yard line. Haven't seen Chandler Fields throw very much tonight, but when he has, he's had some pretty, and this time he'll tuck it under and run. Fields pulled down from behind, protects the football going down, gets close, but not enough for the first down as he's pulled down at the 27-yard line.
Headsy decision. Didn't want to throw the ball into well-covered receivers right there. Didn't want to force it. Playing above his years. Playing above his years. Watch. You can see right here, nothing's there. He pulls it down. So now I'm going to try to get up the field. And then he does what? He slides. Tell you what, I know that Eric Roboto is going to be excited not only for the rest of this season with this young freshman, but he's going to be excited for the next 3 years to come.
Have you noticed as a coach that younger players seem more ready to play immediately in today's world?
It just depends on the young man. You know, you look around, you'll see players that will be ready to play as freshmen and some that aren't. You know, and he's ready to play. It just depends on the young man, depends on where he's coming from, how he was brought up in the game, and, studied the game also.
You talk about this as a rivalry, and rivalries bring about great traditions, and there's an awful lot here. We're just taking a look at this Holy Cross football team huddling, and they've done a great job sustaining drives. But they're looking at 3rd down and 5. This is the 96th meeting. These teams have met every year since 1922. Jesuit leads the overall series. You can see it, 55-38-1 with one game ruled as a no contest. Blue Jays have won 6 out of the last 7. Last year, Jesuit, an easy winner, 56-14.
You know, I've been a part of a lot of those as a player and as a coach. And I tell you what, it's exciting, but it's big as a Catholic League game, and that's the thing that I try to keep stressing to the kids when I was coaching.
3rd down and 5, the toss right up the middle to Trey Turner coming out of the backfield for big yardage on a first down up to the 45-yard line.
He sneaks right out of the backfield. He checks his protection. You'll see on the replay right there, he steps up, checks his protection, nothing there, and he works himself right underneath the zone, underneath the linebackers, and Fields drops the ball off to him for a nice pickup.
18 yards on the pickup, as a matter of fact, so you're right, very nice pickup. And Holy Cross is doing a good job, once again, controlling the clock. We're under 6 minutes to play in the first half. Tigers looking at first down at their own 45-yard line. Trey Turner will get the call, caught in the backfield, fights his way back to the line of scrimmage.
Zach Robert there coming off of the edge, right down the line, right off the blocking scheme of the Holy Cross offensive lineman pulling down Trey Turner. You can see here he comes right there. Good tackle, good wrap-up, brings him down.
I think we got to see a little bit of that 4.33 speed Trey Turner's got when he turned on the afterburners after catching that pass over the middle and finding himself in some daylight. Very explosive, not only as a running back, but after he catches the football. 2nd down 10. Fields under a rush, manages to escape. He's being chased, throws against the grain and throws it away. Don't know if he wanted to throw it away, but he did intend it for Tyler Lamb.
Well, he's under pressure by Zach Robert right there. Came untouched off of the Holy Cross left edge, but he does a great job avoiding the rush, keeping his eyes downfield, and throwing the ball away not to take the sack. Brings up 3rd and long. What I like right now is Holy Cross is in a nice rhythm, nice run-pass rhythm. They're mixing things up. They're getting the ball out into their athletes' hands. They're trying to make sure that they're staying in front of the chains so that way they stay on course.
There was a flag down on that
play.
last play, and
Yes.
Holy Cross is walking backwards, so what looked like 3rd and 10 might be 3rd and even longer than that.
Oh.
Like, what the hell is this? Watch this. That penalty will be declined.
It was lineman downfield. Our
Eligible receiver downfield.
Right,
yes.
legal receiver downfield, lineman downfield. Our referee, Bob Taylor's mic wasn't working right there. Jesuit declines a penalty, just brings up the 3rd and long, which was a smart thing to do right there rather than give him the down over again.
If Holy Cross has to punt this football, they're going to be punting into a stiff 20 to 25 mile an hour wind. If you ever needed a rugby style punter, this would be it. Here's 3rd down 10. Screen pass right to Trey Turner. Turner gets some yards, but not nearly enough for the 1st down. He'll be tackled about 7 yards short.
Cameron Crozier out there on the coverage, coming from his linebacker position out there on the little wide bubble screen to the tailback. You'll see Turner right here bubbling out, dropping the screen off out there, getting the offensive lineman out in front of him, and then here comes the defense. Great job right there by Cam Crozier coming up making the tackle.
Now the punter is Jack Heidensfelder. He's a linebacker, averages about 37 yards a punt. However, into this wind, you might be lucky to get about 20 or 25. Just try to get it out there on the Jesuit side of the 50. Great for the fans who are enjoying this. Most have jackets on because of that stiff wind coming out of the north. Fall weather, fall football weather.
Fall football weather in Louisiana. Everybody's excited when the temperature dips down below 80 degrees. I mean, it's, you can ask Stephanie Altman. She's from Pittsburgh, and she's loving this. So, I mean, I was talking to her before the game. She was saying how the weather is just exciting for her because it's been so hot and humid down here coming from up north where the weather is obviously a lot more milder.
Lipscomb and the very speedy Jakari Wiley are deep. This is one where Eric Robato knows, as he looks at his punter, that you got to get a low line drive punt and hope it gets great roll.
Well, we've got something going on out there. We haven't had any indication from our officials that they're trying to get something straight. Bob Taylor, our white hat head official, is walking over and has walked over and talked to Mark Sanji. Looks like he's coming back over to talk to Eric Robato right now.
Well, we have a moment, and they, I think, are going to discuss time on the clock. We can discuss pizza.
There you go. They're discussing, or burgers.
Yeah, because, hey, Jesuit and Holy Cross fans, Mellow Mushroom will donate 10% of your order to your school's athletics department through Saturday night. Stop by the Metairie or Covington locations, tell your server, and then give back to your school with the best pizza in town. And don't forget to stay mellow at the Mellow Mushroom. They got good salads, too.
Well, that's Bob Taylor's walking right now. He's getting the order straight because he's going to call it in early. So that way everybody's got what their pizza is, and he just wanted to make sure he confirmed with the two head coaches that whether they wanted anchovies or no anchovies.
Hey, listen, even Bob Taylor knows the Mellow Mushroom, okay? Even the officials know it. All right, a little bit of a rush to keep everybody honest, and it's not going to be a bad kick into the wind. It gets a little bit of a Holy Cross roll, but all the way down to the 25-yard line, a 30-yard punt for Heidensfelder. Let's go down to field reporter Stephanie Altman with a guest from the Mellow Mushroom. Stephanie.
Thank you, Ken. I'm here with Todd Moffitt and Billy Mazzano from the Mellow Mushroom. Todd, can you tell me why you choose to support high school sports?
Well, look, I think it's a very integral part of what we do. You know, it's to get involved with the schools, get involved with the kids and the families. You know, we love doing it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Billy, can you tell me why the Holy Cross and Jesuit fans should come by after tonight's game?
Oh, we're staying open late just for the reason of this. I mean, the victors will come through. I'm not going to tell you who I'm going for. But we're having a huge after party after this. We have to actually leave here in a little bit to go set up for it.
What are the specials for them tonight?
Well, we actually rolled out hamburgers today at Mellow Mushroom, or yesterday at Mellow Mushroom. So we're rolling out hamburgers and all types of different pizzas.
Todd, what other specials do you have for high schools in the area?
Basically what we do, we like to get with the high schools and create fundraisers to where we'll, like for the athletic department. So after the high school games, we'll get with schools, get the school to come to the store, and we'll donate 10 to 15% back to the athletic department or whatever they choose over there.
Thank you both so much. Ken and Wade, back to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. And don't forget, if you're a Jesuit or Holy Cross fan, just tell them at the Mellow Mushroom, Covington or Metairie location, that you are a fan of the school, and some of the profits are going right back to your school. That was Connor Pruitt for 11 yards and another first down on the first play of this Jesuit drive. 1st and 10 at the 36. Connor Pruitt gets the call again. That last time was around the right side, this time left side, and this one almost goes for another first down. Tigers stop him 2 yards short of it, but Connor Pruitt, on the last two drives, last two plays rather, 19 yards.
Well, I like what they've just done there. They came out and opened up with a little counter play, and then they came back with the outside zone. They needed to do that. In the past series, they're trying to pound that middle. Jesuits center John Sewell is out. He's been replaced by Nicholas Gauthier, number 62. So now they're kind of mixing up their run game a little bit.
Hodges dropped the football, picks it up though, in trouble, and is sacked way back at the 35-yard line. And that sack.
Jacques Boudreau on the blitz.
Again.
He's everywhere tonight.
He is.
Tell you what, he drops the football. You'll see it right here. Boom. That's what happens when you have a different part of the battery in there. New center, didn't get the ball up quite where it needed to be, has to pick it up. Boudreau blitzes right through there and sacks Hannes for the loss.
Loss of 7 yards makes it 3rd down and 9 for the Blue Jays. Play action to Pruitt. Screen pass left side, and Elijah Lipscomb has the first down and more. So the screen off the play action got big yardage for the Blue Jays and moves the chains.
Talked about it before the game. They've got to get the ball in 17's hands. That's the second time tonight it's happened. The first time, remember, he fumbled back in the first quarter on the first drive. They come back with the X screen or the wide receiver screen right there, and they pick up big yardage. They've got to get the ball into 17's hands. I'll keep repeating it, Ken.
Yeah, they do. Good things happen, like that 24-yard gain, and that moves the ball inside the Holy Cross 40 to the 39-yard line. First down, Blue Jays. Look like their backs were against the wall, and they came up with a big play when they needed it. Play action again, Hodges. And this time throwing with that wind behind him, floats it way up high over the head of Lipscomb, who can't reach it.
Not a good throw right there, Ken. He needs to deliver that a little bit better. Great coverage right there by Kyle Myers, a Florida State commitment. He has 2 interceptions on the years. This guy's 6 foot, 170 pounds. You'll see the coverage right here all over Lipscomb. He's going up through to make a play on a ball, and he deflects it with his upfield hand. Excellent play right there by Kyle Myers. Getting back to Peter. Peter's got to deliver the ball a little bit more follow through with this wind behind him.
And it's dropped the ball again, fumble, scramble for it. Looks like they're scrambling for Peter Hannes comes up with the football, and Jesuit will retain it.
Having trouble with the exchange.
3rd time.
3rd time tonight this has happened. Having trouble with the exchange. You'll see it right there. The ball's just not coming up. Ball's on the ground. Peter right there to fall on it.
Well, you practice all week with your starting center, John Sewell, the senior. He gets hurt on the first offensive play of the game, and you've had a couple of other centers in there trying to work with Hannes, who will work out of the gun, gets a good snap this time, rolls to the right, and throws to Lipscomb. Does he make the catch? And it looks like he does.
A lot better delivery right there by Peter Hannes. He gets onto the corner, sprints to his right, follows through better with his throw in motion, and he hits the out route by Kalijah Lipscomb on the sidelines. You can see his motion right there. He delivers it better, throws a strike better. Right there, great catch, great concentration.
Well, I thought
right
he was, but
it
it looks like he was out of bounds, so they ruled it incomplete. That brings up 4th down and 10, but you're right.
Right, still
stays in
great
bounds.
concentration, but
It
the
was a heck of a
a little
catch.
bit out of bounds, just out of bounds right there. So they ruled him out of bounds, and it brings up 4th down.
Crew Jacobs will punt the football, standing back behind the 50. He's got that wind behind him. Kyle Myers will take the line drive and decide he wants to return in a crowd of people and get maybe 2 before he's pushed back, and that's it. So with that, we will take a break. 1 minute and 28 seconds to play. First half, Holy Cross by a touchdown. You're taking a look at the Holy Cross Tigers enjoying a 1-touchdown, 7-0 lead in this big rivalry. They start this drive at their own 13-yard line. They've started at the 25, their own 8 after the blocked field goal, and now at their 13-yard line. So with these long sustained drives, each team with 1:28 to play in the half has only had the ball 3 times. Here's a give, and we'll see for the first time Ashton Smith run the football for the Holy Cross Tigers, and he gets a few up the middle.
Well, Ashton Smith has been getting a lot of carries so far this season because Trey Turner has been dinged up with his shoulder, and he's a 5'9", 164-pound junior who runs extremely hard, too. The future is bright at tailback with the Holy Cross Tigers and with Ashton Smith. He's a fine running back. Physical, hard-nosed, and runs downhill, just like Trey Turner.
70 carries, 354 yards for Ashton. Averages 5 yards a carry when he touches the football. And he'll get it again over the right side and trying to push forward for the first down. Holy Cross might be happy to take a 7-0 lead into the halftime locker room with less than a minute to play in the first half.
Well, Jesuit's got the win with them.
You're going against the wind here.
Yeah, right. Holy Cross is on the Jesuit end of the field. They're going to make sure down here they don't want to put the ball down, make any mistakes that's going to give Jesuit some sort of shot at 3 points.
If Jesuit wanted to use their timeouts, they have 2 remaining. Chandler Fields hands it off, and once again Ashton Smith picking and choosing his hole over the right guard tackle slot, trying to find something, but not enough for the first down.
It looks like Jesuit is just going to be content on taking it to the locker room also. I'm surprised that they might have not used a timeout right there just to force them to punt.
So the clock runs down, and we have played 1 half in one of the nation's oldest rivalries in the United States here as Holy Cross leads Jesuit 7-0 at Tad Gormley Stadium in New Orleans. Back with our halftime show right after this. Welcome back to Tad Gormley Stadium. Holy Cross and Jesuit, one of the oldest rivalries in the United States. Holy Cross leads at halftime 7-0. Ken Berthelot along with the coach, Wade Kaiser. What a first half. Would you have expected the scoring to be this low and the game to have gone this fast?
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody's going to get to Mellow Mushroom early tonight because they're running the football.
Yes.
But we knew this. The bottom line is Jesuit controls the football by running it. Holy Cross has changed offenses within the last year from a spread, throw the ball type of offense to an pro-I offense to run the ball, to feature Trey Turner. So, no doubt that's what we've got here tonight. We've got a hard ground game going on.
One thing that Jesuit did not want to happen was mistakes and turnovers, because 5 turnovers cost them dearly in the loss last week, and yet you've got a blocked field goal and you've got some fumbles that I know cost them dearly.
Well, it started with the fumble in the very first series. Okay, they pick up the first down, and then they throw the wide receiver screen out to Kalijah Lipscomb, who breaks it and gets knocked from behind because he's holding the ball out and away from his body, and it goes on the ground. It's recovered by Holy Cross. The bottom line is this. Those are mistakes. Getting the ball in the Kalijah Lipscomb's hands is what they need to do. Got to get it in their playmakers' hands, but they cannot continue making mistakes. They had 10 people on the field, cost them a timeout on the field goal. The field goal is blocked. Overthrown passes by Peter. Those are things that they've got to clean up in the locker room at halftime. So, and I know Coach Sanji will do that. He'll talk to his kids about those mistakes.
And very quickly, Holy Cross, good ball control, good movement, only 7 points to show for it. That's good. They could have more.
But they're controlling the game. They're controlling the tempo. I said earlier, I like their run-pass mixture. A lot of inside zone, a lot of outside zone, and the bootlegs off of it for the young quarterback Fields, giving him the opportunity to make throws that are going to be high percentage for him.
We'll be back with more halftime show right after this. We'll take a look at the Holy Cross touchdown, a 9-yard toss from Chandler Fields to Andre Acuna, his first catch of the year, and it's a touchdown.
Hello, I'm
Welcome back to Tad Gormley Stadium. Holy Cross Jesuit. The Tigers lead the Jays 7-0. Earlier this week, our Ken Trahan had an opportunity to talk with none other than the president of First NBC Bank. Let's listen to the interview.
Thank you, Ken. Visiting with Ashton Ryan, the CEO and president of First NBC Bank, a New Orleans institution and growing. Ashton, it's great to have you with us. Welcome.
Good to see you, Kay.
Holy Cross Jesuit, what does it mean to you? You grew up here in the New Orleans area. You went to Jesuit High School. You saw this firsthand. You saw the huge crowds, state championship games, the whole thing. What does this rivalry mean? What does it mean to prep sports and to the community at large?
Well, it's a great rivalry, and it really represents a time when prep sports were really at their high peak. I started at Jesuit in 1959, and we ended up with a state championship where Pat Screen beat LaGrange with 3 touchdowns. But in my later years, we lost a lot of games at Holy Cross, including a state championship game where we played them 3 times and lost every time. So they had great teams too. The rivalry is important for the city in terms of it focuses prep sports. And I think that we got thousands and thousands of young men who play athletics and women too who play athletics at the prep level, and they don't get the recognition they used to get, to be honest, Ken. There are too many alternatives in the channels available for TV and stuff like that, internet, etc. It's a shame because these kids do a great job, and I'd like to see them supported, and I think this is a good opportunity. This is a nationally recognized game, so I'm excited about that.
2005, the 2 teams from Holy Cross and Jesuit were honored earlier here this evening, and they were special because they helped bring back schools, which helped bring back the community at large after Hurricane Katrina. The symmetry with First NBC Bank is obvious because on the heels of Katrina came First NBC Bank coming back into our community. Talk about just what it meant to bring back First NBC Bank.
Well, it was an important part of the process because we needed a new bank in the town. And we also raised a lot of capital, $63 million, which is the largest raise for a new bank in the history of Louisiana, still is. And so it was important to have that capital to allow businesses to rebuild, to let real estate be reclaimed and fixed up. And it was a really important part. But the symbol of the fact that we believed in the city was an important part of these 2 schools as well as First NBC. We were starting to organize before the storm. We could have said, no, this is a crazy idea, let's give it up. But we thought it was a good time, and we ended up doing it after the storm, and I'm glad we did.
We all know about the main branch, of course, downtown on Barone, and it's a phenomenal building. You reformed this, and here we are, nearly a decade, 35 branches throughout Louisiana, now into the Florida. Did you envision this when you first brought it back?
I wish I could tell you I did, but I'd be lying to you. The reality is we to see have some success. We do it as a competitive market with a lot of banks, but we didn't understand the real value that the old First NBC had given to its customer base, and so we grew very rapidly because of that.
And of course, you've been a big sponsor of prep sports at large with WHNO and SportsNOLA.com, which brings so much to the public as a result in exposing these schools. What does it mean to you to be part of that as First NBC Bank?
Well, we're a community bank, and that means we only do as good as our community. And one big part of our community is our children and how they grow up and how they deal with adversity and deal with setting goals and setting up discipline for themselves. All these things sports teach. And we really think prep sports are an important part of the education process of our children. And we're glad to support it, and we'd like more people to do it, to be honest. We'd love to be back to the days where City Park Stadium was full of 26,000 people to watch a prep game. Yeah. We probably may never get there, but if we get close, that'd be great.
Great history at Tag Gormley Stadium.
That's
know
right.
all about it.
That's exactly right.
Ashton Ryan of First NBC Bank, thank you so much for being here and for being part of this telecast.
Thank you for having me, Ken.
We'll return in just a moment with more of our halftime show on the First NBC Prep Showcase.
We think sports is an important part to the growth
Welcome back to Tad Gormley halftime. Holy Cross is leading Jesuit 7-0. Let's go downstairs to Stephanie Altman with two special guests.
Thank you, Ken. As most of you know, this year marks the 10th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, with both schools suffered devastating loss during it. Right here with me now are the head coaches from both teams of that 2005 season, Barry Wilson of Holy Cross and Vic Umont of Jesuit. Barry, you're now the athletic director of Holy Cross. What does this team mean to you?
Oh, it's amazing what this game and everything means to us, because the tradition between Jesuit and Holy Cross goes so far back, and it means so much to the community, and as you can see, draws a tremendous crowd. And it's a friendly rivalry. It's not one that we hate one another. We actually like one another, but we do want to beat them real bad, and it means the world to me just for us to be at this game. It really does.
Vic, what does it mean to you to be back here tonight?
Oh, it's great to be away. We live in California now. I've been out there for 10 years, but it's always great to come back to New Orleans, and especially if I'm coming back for Holy Cross or Jesuit. So it's a great opportunity to see friends and to see old players that we can have great stories to tell each other.
Barry, thinking back in 2005, when you first found out how devastating the damage was from Hurricane Katrina, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, my initial thoughts were we weren't going to have any football. We weren't going to have a school. Our school was totally devastated. We were under about 6 feet of water all the way through it. So when we found that out, we were really concerned. A lot of my coaches were looking for jobs right away because it was the beginning of the year, actually. And our administration gave me a call and asked, hey, you think we can get a football team together? Because we felt like if we could get a football team, we'd get a draw. We'd start to pull some of the kids in, and that's the way it worked out. It worked out great for us to do that.
In 2005, you actually called Coach Wilson after you had already evacuated about playing this game and making sure this tradition stayed alive. What can you tell me about that phone call?
Well, we just thought it was important to be able to complete that game and keep the tradition going that it had always been. I think there was one game that was a disputed game, but other than that, we've played through the years with great. The rivalry is so good and so tight, just like tonight is 7-0, and most games were that way. So we needed to play that game.
One last question for both of you. What does this game mean to you?
Well, it means the world to me personally. I look forward to it. You don't, when you live in this community and you realize what Holy Cross and Jesuit mean to the community and to the whole city of New Orleans and everything. The Catholic League goes way, way back, and to keep this rivalry going just means the world to me, and I know to our administration and our school.
Vic, what does this mean to you?
Well, pretty much the same thing, that Barry lived right near Holy Cross, and I lived in between Holy Cross and Jesuit, and just a neighbor, Everett Tragle, went to Holy Cross, and really that's why I went to Holy Cross, and never regretted it. And then getting a chance to play to coach at Jesuit, it's a different perspective.
Sounds great. Well, thank you both, gentlemen, so much for joining me. We'll be back with more of our halftime right after this.
I'm Brad Callaway.
Ken Berthelot along with Wade Kaiser. It is halftime, and Wade, both coaches have had almost 20 minutes now to look at everything. What adjustments do you think they made in the locker room?
I'll tell you the first thing. Mark Sanji over at Jesuit is chewing some tail. He wants to cut the mistakes out. Too many last week. It's carried over the first half. They have to stop the mistakes. Okay? Holy Cross needs to continue with the mixing of the offensive plays, throwing, passing. They've got to do a little bit better job tackling, I think. So I'm sure Coach Roboto talked to his defense about doing a better job tackling on Connor Pruitt.
Let's take a look at our stats here from the first half. And as we look at them, you'll see Jesuit leading in first downs by one over Holy Cross. But look at the rushing yards. And again, for as much rushing as we saw in the Holy Cross, I thought from both teams, Holy Cross and Jesuit, I thought there'd be more rushing yards in this game.
Well, once again, Holy Cross is doing a good job with the mixing of their plays and their balance a little bit. I think Jesuit needs to do a little bit more of that on balancing the plays and getting the ball in the hands of number 17. Have I said that before tonight?
Yes, you've said that about 3 times. They're going to hear you eventually.
I think they need to do that. You know, that's one of the things they need to do is the controlled passing game, mixing the run and the pass, and the guy they need to go to in the passing game is number 17, Kalijah Lipscomb.
Now, time of possession, 12 minutes and 31 seconds for Jesuit, 11:29 for Holy Cross. And again, you look at the turnovers, 1 for Jesuit, none for Holy Cross. But remember, there was also the blocked field goal. So with that, we will take a break and come back with the start of the second half from City Park, New Orleans. Holy Cross, Jesuit, Holy Cross by a touchdown. We are back and getting ready to start the second half of this football game. Both teams out on the field warming up, and a couple of late stats handed to us by statistician Tommy Cooper. And real interesting one is, I think, Chandler Fields on third downs, a perfect 5 of 5 for 68 yards, and of course the third down touchdown toss to Andre Acuna, the tight end. Holy Cross is 4 of 5 on third down conversions.
Right. Well, exactly, and it's once again it's a balance of run pass for Holy Cross that is giving him those stats.
Well, games like this always bring about tradition. You talk about tradition. Time now for Traditions, presented by Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905, with locations downtown, in Metairie, and in Mandeville. How long has this rivalry been big? Take a look back at 75 years ago when Holy Cross and Jesuit met in 1940 for the city championship. The crowd that day, 34,345. Jesuit defeated Holy Cross 25-6 in this very stadium. It's still the largest crowd ever to see a game here at Tad Gormley. How'd you like to be in that number that day? Noticed everybody in a fedora, everybody dressed up. How different it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've looked at that picture a million times. Walking the hall of Jesuit, and I've stood there and I've seen something different each time looking at that. The fedoras, the people looking back at the camera. The gentleman holding his daughter walking across the track.
Yes.
The placement of where the scoreboard was back then, and just the stadium, the lights weren't in yet. You got to remember, the stadium had just been built 3 years prior by the Work Progress Administration set up by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So the stadium was brand new. What a great picture. What a great tradition.
Darius Rodriguez and Leighton Johnson are back for the Holy Cross Tigers. Jesuit will have the wind in the third quarter, so here, Crew Jacobs can actually kick this ball out of the end zone if he wants. The wind blowing, it's a stiff 20 to 25 mile an hour wind.
What's big here also is Holy Cross gets the win in the fourth quarter, Ken.
Well, he'll pooch kick it. It'll come down to a short man who makes a fair catch at the 25-yard line. Wisely so. Good move by the Tigers, Kim Wimberly, to make that fair catch.
Well, kicking with the win right there, Jesuit elects to still go with the pooch and cover the pooch kick. And excellent coverage right there. Excellent pooch kick by Crew Jacobs. And Holy Cross is starting with the ball on the 26-yard line.
Third quarter just underway. Holy Cross protecting that 7-0 lead. Chandler Fields, the freshman quarterback. He has gone the whole way. We expected to see some of Scheck-Snyder tonight. Handoff and first down will go nowhere. Again, Chandler Fields, the freshman, listed at about 5'10", 5'11", maybe, 175. Was not expected to play his freshman year. But Kyle Scheck-Snyder, the senior, who's been starting for the last 3 years, injured an ankle, cost him a few games last year, and he re-injured that ankle before the start of the season. And suddenly, Chandler Fields was thrust into the starting quarterback role.
Well, I'll tell you what, I like what I've seen in the first half out of Chandler Fields. Very poised, very under control, does a nice job handling the offense.
As you said earlier, playing way above his years as a freshman. Handoff on second down. Turner going straight ahead. Let's go downstairs to Stephanie Altman, our field reporter. Stephanie?
Thank you, Ken. I talked to Coach Sanji at halftime. He used the expression, we've shot ourselves in the foot a few times. He said this game definitely isn't over. They just need to stop making mistakes. Ken and Wade, back to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. 3rd down and 5 for the Holy Cross Tigers. They have had some long sustained drives, and Fields has been perfect throwing on 3rd down. He will run. This time won't get the opportunity to throw. The pressure is coming, and he's spilled for a big loss.
Big 3-and-out right there by the Jesuit defense. Also a sack by Henry Morrow, 5'11", 200-pound senior. Fields looking downfield, nothing there. Here comes Henry Morrow right there for the tackle, and it's a big 3-and-out for Jesuit.
That'll bring up 4th down and 5 for the Tigers. And Jack Heidensfelder, the punter, remember, is punting against a very strong wind. Heidensfelder punted once very well against the wind. Takes his time, gets one up high where you don't want to get it into this wind, and he shanks it to the left. It'll go out of bounds. And let's see where the officials will finally walk it out and mark it. It'll be at the 35-yard line, so only a not a very big punt, only a 6-yard punt in the big picture as the Blue Jays take over at the Holy Cross 35. The first NBC Bank Prep Showcase has another rivalry matchup next week as Covington goes across town to meet St. Paul's in the District 6-5A game. Watch it live next Friday on SportsNola.com or catch the tape-delayed broadcast next Saturday afternoon on WHNO-TV 20. That's Covington and St. Paul's next week on the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase. So Jesuit takes over with a flag thrown before they can get the snap off with their best starting field position of this game at the 35-yard line of Holy Cross. But they're going to move themselves back 5 yards.
Well, they're starting off kilter right there, starting 1st and 15. That isn't exactly what an offensive coordinator wants to do. We had movement by the Jesuit offensive line, which backed it up. You'll be able to see it right here on the replay. Looks like the tight end Evan Slattery flinched a little bit and backed it up 5 yards.
Inside screen to Elijah Lipscomb, who turns back inside and gets some of the penalty yardage back before running into some navy blue jerseys.
Well, those are things that are going to get Peter Hannes' confidence back, making sure he gets the ball out of there quick into the short wide receiver screens and the throwing game, which is the three-step drop game, which he does so well. They want to get it in number 17's hands. He's the guy that can break it for them at any given time that the ball's in his hands.
He got 4 of the 5 penalty yards back. Makes it 2nd down and 11 at the HC 36. Keep it on the ground with Connor Pruitt. Pruitt with a nice cut to the outside. Has a little bit of room and is finally lassoed down from behind.
I like the call. The call's into the boundary away from the offensive formation, so they're running against the numbers. Holy Cross puts its formation defensively into the field. Jesuit comes with the outside zone into the short side of the field where Holy Cross has less numbers. Pruitt does a great job digging it up inside and then cutting it back against the grain for a pickup for first down. Puts it right back on schedule.
Right back at the 21-yard line. Holy Cross had punted from their own 26, so Jesuits moved it now to the Tiger 21, their best threat of this football game. Hannes on the give. A good fake by Hannes. Connor Pruitt caught back at the 30 and dropped for a loss.
Penetration by Kenny Carradine right there. Rips right through there and does a nice job tackling Pruitt. Pruitt goes nowhere. Still not back in at center for the Jays is John Sewell, who got hurt back in the first quarter. Taking his place is Nicholas Gauthier at center. You can see right here the inside counter. Right there, bang. Here comes 95. Carradine right through there makes a big, strong tackle.
Gauthier and Bezelman have both had a shot at that center spot since Sewell got hurt on the first offensive play of the football game. Hannes with play action on the roll. Good throw. Good catch down low by Evan Slattery. And that's a big-time catch. A little bit short of the first down, but moves the football inside the 15-yard line.
Delay release right here by Slattery. 1,001, 1,002, and then he's dragging across the center. You can see the fullback out in the flat. Hannes off the bootleg action does a nice job hitting his dragging tight end Evan Slattery.
Had a defender trying to make a nice play just with a dive over his back, but the ball was thrown where only Slattery could get that football. 3rd down, 2 for the Blue Jays. Would like to move the chains and not be faced with a decision. Here's Connor Pruitt, and he won't make it. Pruitt stopped short. And again, the guy, Scott Bro.
Well, Jesuit tries to come back again to the play that they ran about 3 downs ago to the outside zone stretch into the boundary away from the offensive formation. Nowhere to go that time. Great job by Scott Bro.
So that brings up 4th down and 2. You got the wind behind you, a field goal. Of course, I say it should be automatic. The last one was kicked a little bit low and blocked. So on 4th down and 1, calling it a little bit longer than 1, about 1.5, the Jays are going to go for it. Here's the give to Connor Pruitt. Big hole over the left side. He's got it inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for Jesuit.
Let me tell you what that was. That was a statement by Mark Sonji. That's the bottom line right there. He says to these guys, hey, we're going to get 2 yards. We're not going to kick the field goal. If we're going to win this football game, we're either going to pick up these 2 yards or we're not. We don't deserve it. So that's a statement by Mark Sonji right there saying, hey, we're going to go for this. We're not taking the 3. We're either going to do it or we're not going to do it, and it's going to be right now. Big play right there by the Jesuit offense and a call by Mark Sonji.
Helps build confidence for your quarterback, who's worked with 3 different centers tonight, including the starter who was hurt. Connor Pruitt around the left side, breaks a tackle and fights his way into the end zone for the touchdown. Connor Pruitt brings Jesuit within an extra point of tying this football game with 6 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter.
Well, it starts with the statement. On the 4th down, that's where it came, and it led right there to that outside zone by Connor Pruitt. Great blocking on the edge out there by Malachi Hall, wide receiver, blocking on the corner, and it opens up the outside zone for Pruitt to walk into the end zone.
Crew Jacobs in to attempt the point after. Snap was not great, real low, but he was put down well, kicked up, and it's good. We're tied at 7. Jesuit and Holy Cross as Pruitt ties it up on a 5-yard run. They're all tied up, 7-7. Holy Cross got their score in the first half, and Jesuit got their score on their first possession of the second half after forcing Holy Cross 3 and out on their opening possession. A punt into the wind only went 6 yards into that, again, stiff 15 to 20 mile an hour wind. And then, again, the Blue Jays go down and score, and we are all knotted up at 7 with Crew Jacobs getting ready to send this ball probably about as far as he would like to send it or as short as he would like to kick it, with this strong, strong wind blowing to our right, which is to the south here at City Park. It'll come down to Darius Rodriguez, and he's got a little bit of room on the right side. He's a wide receiver with speed. He can go, but he can't get around one tackler on the far side, so he is brought down to the 24-yard line. If you're injured on Friday, the Ochsner Sports Medicine Institute is open on both the North and the South Shore for Saturday morning clinic. Ochsner Sports Medicine, the region's most comprehensive sports medicine services. Ochsner, a very new sponsor of our broadcast. Glad to have them.
They supply a lot of trainers to a lot of local schools that come in, do a great job to programs that don't have their own trainer on staff. They will supply trainers and come in and help their programs.
From the 24-yard line of the Tigers, not much on first down. Trey Turner gets the call, but the Blue Jays have done a pretty good job late in the first half and then so far here in this second half of bottling up Trey Turner.
Stiffening up on defense a little bit. You'll see the defense slanting to the wide side of the field right there. Troy Baglio does a great job with his defensive calls as well as with his defensive line. He always has his guys moving in some direction to try to pick up the added advantage. Right there, you saw it slant to the field. They got the extra man advantage, and there was no place to go that time for Trey Turner. Got a Holy Cross Tiger down on the field.
Looks like an offensive lineman, and
I think that's Chris Bologna, the starting center.
Well, if it is, he's holding his knee, so you don't know if he got it turned in some of those blocks. But that gives us the opportunity to remind you that if you are interested in purchasing a DVD copy of today's game, send an email to prep@sportsnola.com or call our offices at 504-681-0120. During normal business hours, you'll receive a reply with more information on how to purchase the DVD.
I think he's limping off on a little sore ankle right there, Ken. So now, here's what we've got. We've got both backup batteries on the field for both offenses. I think he rolled his ankle underneath him, as you can see on the replay right there. So now we both have backup centers in. That could affect, the way things are going to go for both offenses. We've seen it with Jesuit already with some fumbled snaps in the first half.
Christian Zabo is the backup center for Holy Cross, who's in there now looking at second down and 9. Chandler Fields in trouble, directs little traffic as he rolls and throws it away. No one open. So now the Tigers again are facing third down long, 3rd down and 8. To keep the ball moving here in the third quarter with 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Again, the importance of Holy Cross moving that football and moving the chains is if you've got a punt, you're punting into a stiff wind that looks like it's even blowing at about 25 miles an hour now, a little stiffer than earlier tonight.
Well, right there, I tell you what, Chandler Field does a great job evading the rush, and you're right. They're bringing up a huge 3rd and long where they're having to have to throw into the wind, but also possibility if they can't convert kicking into a win. And they're playing on the Jesuit end of the field so far in the second half.
3 wide outs to the bottom of your screen. That's where Chandler Fields is going to scramble. He'll look, turn around, go the opposite way, and cannot find Jordan Alexis at the top of your screen. So it's incomplete, and Holy Cross is looking at 4th down.
Great coverage right there that time by Janet Briscoe, the cornerback, 5'9", 160-pound corner for Jesuit. Right there you saw coming off the field Chandler Fields. Evades the rush again, throws the ball away, brings up 4th down, kicking into a brisk wind.
Well, the pressure is really on Heidingsfelder to get something good. You need a low line drive that's going to give you some roll. This is a lower one than last time, and unfortunately it takes a Jesuit bounce at the 46-yard line coming back. It takes a bounce for about 3 yards back, but there's a flag on the play, so hold everything. A flag away from the football near the Holy Cross bench. A 16-yard punt. The last one was a 6-yard punt. And this now is going to be a 16-yard punt. And again, no fault of the punter. You're punting into a stiff wing. The flags over the scoreboard here at Tad Gormley are blowing as if that little tropical depression, storm, hurricane out. You think you've got one of the outer bands reaching out to here. It's blowing so hard. Now, it's not. This is beautiful fall weather. Offsetting penalties. Jesuit will have it with a first down. Tomorrow night, SportsNola.com has live prep football with another Catholic League matchup between Brother Martin and St. Aug. Watch it live on SportsNola.com tomorrow night at 7:30.
We had a little extracurricular activity away from the ball that time, so we had offsetting penalty personal fouls, so it'll be 1st and 10. Jesuit starting in great field position, playing on the Jesuit in the field so far in the second half.
How they start this at the Holy Cross 42-yard line. And Connor Pruitt finds running room, taking a few people with him before finally being hit and pushed back.
Well, I tell you what, right there again, they're pounding the short side of the field away from the Holy Cross numbers. You can see this district standings right there. Tell you what, how about that Brother Martin St. Aug game tomorrow night? It's going to be real big.
Well, the winner of that game would be 2-0. If Holy Cross wins this game, they'd be 2-0, but right now they've got to get off their side of the field. Not easy to do when you're playing into the wind like they have been doing. Connor Pruitt, left side, looking for some. He's been able to break a few long ones, and a long one in this game might be anything over 10 yards, anything in double digits, but not this time. Holy Cross slams him.
Jesuit keeps pounding the outside zone to the short side of the field. We've seen this in the past two series. You can see Connor Pruitt there, 22 for 107 tonight, 1 TD, running the outside zone away from the numbers. Holy Cross is setting their defense to the wide side of the field, so you can see Pruitt there running hard downhill on the outside zone away from the Holy Cross numbers to the short side of the field.
Didn't need much on that last one. They just wanted to move the chains, and they did. First down, Jesuit. And here's a give to Rojas. First time we see Kyle Rojas touch the football tonight. He'll get a few on the left side.
Off a little counter action right there. I'd like to see them run a little bit more of this counter action. They're running the inside zone. They're running the outside zone. They need to mix in a little counter action. Will help their throwing game with their bootleg plays. So nice look at Rojas right there running the counter. And he's the changeup back. We have not seen Wiley yet in the backfield yet tonight either. I'm still waiting to see him.
3:45 to play in the third quarter. The entire third quarter has been played on the Holy Cross side of the field because of that stiff 20-25 mile-an-hour wind. Rojas again right up the middle, stumbles his way forward and will move the chains as he is about to the 17-yard line.
Fresh legs right there. Running a little ISO play. They wrapped around the fullback from his wing position up into the hole. You can see number 7 right there wrapping himself around up into the hole. That is Zach Young, the fullback, leading Rojas right up into the isolation hole right there. They call that an ISO because you're going to block at the point of attack, one direction, the other direction, and you're going to ISO on a linebacker with a fullback.
Rojas, 6'1", 190, a junior. Looking and well, good fake. Here comes Hannes. Oh, and he throws behind Evan Slattery, who slaps the ground because he tried to stop, turn around and pick it up, but he was well covered also.
Taylor Fleming does a nice job right there covering the boot leg. You can see the boot action. There's the drag by Slattery. We saw this play in the first half. Number 8 does a great job getting his right hand in there and breaking up the pass. That's Taylor Fleming. Nice play.
Second down, 10 for the Jays. Hannes sends a man in motion behind him. And gives to Rojas with a big hole over the left side. And there's that play again, Wade. And Rojas is managing to reel off 5, 6, 7 yards a pop every time they run that little shot.
Counter, commonly known as counter tray, where you're kicking out with the guard. You're going to see the big offensive lineman right there, Austin Reed, on the kick out. The fullback is the wraparound lead-up blocker, Zach Young, number 7 right there. Huge hole right there for Rojas to run up into.
Third down, about 2. Honest will give to Rojas again. Rojas somehow bounces off the pile, finds room on the left side, is inside the 5 and down to the 2-yard line.
Running hard, very hard. You notice how he's falling forward every time he carries the ball. Expect to see Jesuit come in with their heavy package right now, where they're going to probably line up in a power I down on the goal line.
You talked about Rojas being fresh legs in for Connor Pruitt. Not that I thought Connor Pruitt lost anything, but and Pruitt's back in the game right now. Somebody jumped early. Here's the gift to Pruitt. Play blown dead.
There's one of those mistakes you can't have by an offense jumping early down inside the 5-yard line. Oh, I was wrong. It was Holy Cross into the neutral zone.
Well,
that's a big mistake right there. We'll move it half the distance to the goal line.
Let's see if the Jays, which I would expect them to stay in that power I defense. No, look at it.
There. You saw the penetration right there. The ball is blown dead immediately once they break the neutral zone.
Give the Pruitt behind all of that big offensive line group and the big guys that came in to block for him, including the tight ends. He goes into the end zone, touchdown. 1-yard touchdown by Connor Pruitt.
You know, the series starts off in great shape. The wind is playing into a factor here. We had a shank punt for the first touchdown, set up a touchdown, and then we have a very short punt on the second drive by Holy Cross, and everyone's playing on the Jesuit end of the field. It's set up the drive, and a great drive by Jesuit right there.
Extra point by Crew Jacobs is good, and Jesuit leads this one 14-7. We'll take a break. The Blue Jays have scored 14 unanswered for the lead in this one with 1:48 to play in the third. Welcome back to Tad Gormley in this big rivalry between Holy Cross and Jesuit. The Tigers took the early lead 7-0 in the first half, but Jesuit has come back to score 2 unanswered touchdowns and lead 14-7 with 1:48 to play in the third quarter. Ken Berthelot along with Wade Kaiser and field reporter Stephanie Altman as we get set for the Blue Jays to kick off. A lot of happy Jesuit fans. They were quiet early. They're up and cheering the Jays right now. Holy Cross fans up on their feet on the opposing sideline. Crew Jacobs with that 20-mile-an-hour wind behind him will just try to hook one. It's bobbled, caught, and then returned for about a yard before being slammed down. Nowhere else to go with that. And the best thing right now going for Holy Cross is in about 1:44 seconds, they're going to get the wind behind them, and that is very important.
Right, that's very important. But I got a little interesting stat here. Holy Cross's scoring drive in the first half was 12 plays, 75 yards. But since then, all right, in the second half, they have only snapped the ball 17 plays for only 68 yards. Only 7 minutes and 26 seconds time of possession. So it's real interesting how things have changed in the second half, field position, and without the wind.
Well, we may be seeing a different quarterback now, and we are. Kyle Schecksnyder, we're finally seeing him in this game. He had an ankle injury. He's only played 2 games this year because of that ankle injury, and he's seen limited touches in those 2 games, but he has quarterbacked this team for the last 2 years. He has yet to throw a pass, and normally comes in, they're using him on certain run plays, and they did just now.
Well, he's a team leader. No, he's a Louisiana College commit. He committed early at the beginning of the season to go up and play football at Louisiana College. The young man is a leader. He leads this offense. Even though he's been out, he's been a leader on the sidelines, a leader in the locker room, and a leader in practice. And hopefully he can get over his injuries and come back full speed.
And a little bit of a mix-up right there as he hands that football off to Rodrigue. And Scheck-Snyder last year rushed for 371 yards and passed for 747 more.
Right there, they run the speed sweep or the jet sweep. You see a lot of that on Saturday in college right now with speedy receivers coming into the backfield and running across the formation and getting the handoff. It's like an outside zone running play, but handing it off to a wide receiver coming into the backfield on the jet or speed sweep.
Here's a give to Ashton, and Ashton Smith takes it into the line and gets the first down, and that's what Holy Cross needed more than anything else. That's their first down of the second half, and it comes on what is probably going to be the last play of the third quarter, because the Tigers have decided to let the clock run down, and we are in the final 3 seconds of the third quarter of play. Third quarter comes to an end in this big, historic rivalry. Jesuit with a 1-touchdown lead over Holy Cross. Back with the fourth quarter right after this.
We make summer.
We start the fourth quarter of play in the great Holy Cross Jesuit rivalry, one of the oldest in the nation, the oldest in the South. Jesuit has scored 14 unanswered points in the third quarter to lead by a touchdown. Jesuit had the wind, and I don't know if we can get a shot of the flagpole, but you can see the flags, and they are not just blowing in the wind, they are just popping as this wind is at about 20 to 25 miles an hour. So the team going, as you look at your screen, to our right will have the wind, and that is Holy Cross will have that advantage in the fourth quarter. Against that wind, they went 3 and out, and had punts of 6 and 16 yards. Their third possession of this half started a few plays ago, and they continue it now with a first down when we do start the fourth quarter of play.
Well, the wind has definitely been a factor, but Holy Cross has got to get something going. They've got to get back to their rhythm, okay? And they're going to try to do that with Kyle Scheck-Snyder. They brought him in on this series, who is a little change-up from Chandler Fields. And with that, they're going to try to make sure that they get back into a rhythm, and that's what they've got to do.
Tigers are ready with it. Much better field position at their own 46-yard line, and for the first time in this game, we had seen Scheck-Snyder, and he does stay in there, and he will keep and run over the left side. carrying for 8 yards and almost another first down to the 48-yard line.
His package is the zone read option. So they're going to fake the inside zone. He's going to read the last guy on the line of scrimmage right there. There's the read, the wraparound by the tight end, and he pulls the ball because the defensive end from Jesuit follows the running back down the line. So that gives him the option to either give it or pull it. In that instance, the read is pull, and he keeps it and follows his big tight end, Tyler Lamb, around the edge.
That makes it second down. 3.
Hey, anybody there?
He'll keep, and he will throw for the first time this year. Tipped up, almost picked off.
That was a great drive on the ball by Jakari Wiley. Defensive backs, when the ball is in the air, they want to drive on the receiver, and that's exactly what he did right there. The thing you preach to a defensive back is you want to make sure that you're going to drive to the point of where you can meet the ball to break it up, and make sure that if you're going to bring both hands in front of the receiver, you better make sure you're going to pick the ball. Right there, he almost had that pick.
Well, if you missed it earlier, we talked about the fact that because of the ankle injury, Kyle Scheck-Snyder, the senior, expected to start this year, has only played 2 games. He's seen limited touches with the football. That was the first pass attempt he has thrown this year. He usually runs. He will now on the left side. Jesuit bottles him up. He's fighting for the first down. It looks like he got enough, and he will move the chains. That's all Holy Cross needed on that drive.
He fakes the speed sweep, and then he sticks the ball up into the quarterback wraparound run. They pull the backside guard, lead him up into the hole, and there goes Scheck-Snyder up for the first down.
Moves the ball onto the Jesuit side of the 50. The entire third quarter was played on the Holy Cross side of the field because of that stiff wind. 1st and 10. This is the first play of the second half from the Jesuit side of the field. The flag is down, so hold on.
Ball.
Maybe not.
Ball start.
Maybe not.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still playing first down.
So it won't be yet a play from the Jesuit side of the field.
Well, yeah, the illegal procedure will do that to you. False start. Brings it back into Holy Cross territory.
I have that as only the first offensive penalty by the Holy Cross Tigers in this football game here in the fourth quarter. I just can't get over the wind. Now, look, it's great fall weather out there, but you look at the wind blowing and you think you're on a ship in the North Atlantic.
Having coached in this stadium many times, the wind definitely makes a difference.
This one's blown dead also. Flag is down. Way back.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
All right. Delay a game is definitely something Eric Robardo, the head coach at Holy Cross, would definitely be upset over. Either the play didn't get in quick enough or it wasn't translated fast enough, but it's something that he wants to definitely clean up. He doesn't like those type of mistakes.
So Holy Cross will have it now first down and 20, and even with the wind, you don't want to back yourself up and get yourself into a lot of trouble. Scheck-Snyder on the keeper and fools no one on the left side as Jesuit stuffs him. Jesuit and Holy Cross fans, Mellow Mushroom will donate 10% of your order to your school's athletics department through Saturday night. Stop by the Metairie or the Covington locations, tell your server, and give back to your school with the best pizza in town. And don't forget to stay mellow at the Mellow Mushroom. Had Mellow Mushroom guys as our guest at halftime with Stephanie Altman down on the field. And a big party, big post-game party planned at the Mellow Mushroom tonight in the Metairie location. So a lot of fun planned there. Here's a gift to Trey Turner, and Trey Turner right up the middle. He'll move the chains for a first down. And there's that explosion we talked about with Trey Turner. Oh, wait a minute. Still short of the first down. My bad.
See, Jesuit's
thought he moved it. He didn't.
Jesuits will bring Matt McMahon off the edge right there in a blitz, and Holy Cross pops it right past the blitz and comes up just a little bit short.
You know, a little bit's going to be about 7, so they're going to need something really big on third down.
Should I say third and long?
Third and a long Scheck-Snyder hasn't thrown much. He's going to keep it. He's going to run. Now he moves the chains, and he's got a little bit more. He's inside the 25-yard line, and he falls forward going down to the 21-yard line. That's a big play of 24 yards for Kyle Scheck-Snyder. You talked about senior leadership, good decision-making. This proves it.
Well, everybody's run off into coverage right there. Jesuit does a nice job in their coverage. The senior tucks the ball and gets up the field and gets at least the 7 plus more for the first down.
Holy Cross trailing by 7. They've had 3 consecutive third down conversions, which is huge for Holy Cross, and they have looked good on third down in this football game. Scheck-Snyder sends Rodrigue in motion, gives to Trey Turner, and Turner's bottled up at the line, pushed back.
Jesuit slants with the motion that time. Bottles up the outside zone of Trey Turner. Right there to make the play, Zach Robert. You can see the slant right there. There comes Zach Robert right there. Carson Smith right there. Cameron Crozier right there. As well as Ed Rice. In on the play. Stops the outside zone.
That brings up 2nd down and 11 after the loss of 1. Scheck-Snyder replacing the starter and the true freshman Chandler Fields, who never thought he was going to start a football game this year. Throw over the middle, very low, almost picked off. Closest person to it was Jacob Baxter, a linebacker for the Blue Jays.
Not a very well thrown ball right there. Had the receiver open behind Baxter, just was a little late on his delivery. You can see right there downfield, you can see the post route coming into view just in a minute, just not very well thrown. Timing was off a little bit and needed to put a little elevation on that ball.
I wonder if he was trying to take something off of that because of that stiff wind.
Well, he's trying to point it. The wind could take it, but it's just a little off target.
Scheck-Snyder with Turner behind him on 3rd down 11. Blitz coming. Scheck-Snyder steps up into it, breaks an ankle tackle, being chased, throws, and it is incomplete. No one there. And Jacob Baxter looks like he might be cramping up a little bit in the back thigh.
Well,
Scheck-Snyder would like to have that one back.
Scheck-Snyder avoids the outside off the edge blitz by Cameron Crozier. Jesuit has had some success with that tonight, bringing Cameron Crozier off of the edge and causing some disruption. Right there, Scheck-Snyder avoids it and gets away. Just doesn't make a very good throw right there. His timing's a little off with his throwing. His field goal's with the win right here by a pretty darn good kicker. He's made it from 42 this year. Gavin Broussard, his longest is 42. He's 3 for 4 on his field goals so far this season.
3 for 4, and right, his long is 42. This will be a 39-yard attempt from the left hash with about a 20-mile-an-hour, maybe a 25-mile-an-hour wind behind him. He gets it up. It is long enough. No good. He missed it to the right.
Definitely had the distance, just pushed it to the right. Got a flag on the play, so let's hold everything.
We'll figure out the flag and more when we come back.
Receiving team, 15-yard, half the distance.
Well, hold on, because of the flag, it looks like Holy Cross will keep this drive alive. We'll stay right here. A personal foul.
Tell you what that will do. That's going to give Holy Cross, if it is a personal foul, that would give Holy Cross a first down, keep the drive alive. And it does. It moves the change. Personal foul. That's one of those mistakes Marstangi talked about that they cannot have in crucial situations.
So here it goes. They marked it off on the personal foul. And that puts the ball down at the 11-yard line. First down, Holy Cross. Scheck-Snyder in at quarterback for the first time tonight on this drive. Started back in the third quarter. Handoff Ashton Smith. He is pushing down near the 5-yard line.
Holy Cross brings in 2 backs into a 21 personnel formation. They fake the inside zone, and then they hand it off to Ashton Smith on the zone the other way, a little counter action. I like the play. It's a nice little setup, nice little play that they're running right there.
Brings up 2nd down and goal from just outside the 5-yard line. A drive kept alive by a personal foul on the Jesuit Blue Jays after the Tigers missed that 39-yard field goal with the wind behind them. Scheck-Snyder works under center. Hands it off. Ashton Smith over the right side, pushes down to about the 1.5-yard line.
Ashton Smith finishes, runs off. He's not easy to bring down. He's always falling forward, never falling back. Runs the outside zone there and falls forward. You can see he's going to get the handoff. There's the zone reach by the offensive lineman. High and tight with the ball. Oh, I like that. High and tight. Ball's not going on the ground. Good coaching right there on that young man, making sure that it's put away. Good shot right there of Eric Rabato, the head football coach and former defensive coordinator under Barry Wilson of the Holy Cross Tigers.
3rd down and goal, and the give to Ashton Smith. 2nd effort, pushing, did not get it. He is down at the 1, maybe a half-yard line. Flag is down. Hold everything. Flag down.
Or it's thrown possibly right there. Looks like a possible face mask, which would just move it half the distance to the goal line.
Let's see.
Personal foul.
Oh.
Mask. Defense. Half the distance to go. 1st down.
Half the distance doesn't make that much of a difference. 1st down is huge. They'll take the 6 inches, but they have now 3 more downs to get it in before they would have to make a decision. So that was a huge, 2 huge penalties against Jesuit on this drive has given Holy Cross new life.
You can see the face mask inside. Looked like the face mask was on number 83, Henry Morrow. Just got his hands tangled up in that face mask of the running back.
Ashton Smith, not Trey Turner, the running back. The gift to Ashton Smith. Hit in the backfield, driven back, hit hard. And the hit came from Cameron Crozier and who?
And Mark Beebe, number 22, from his free safety position right there, stepped up, put a stick on Ashton Smith. I like that hit. Here we go. Let's take a look at it again. Outside zone, whack. Great tackle, wrap the arms. Right there, tackle him with his shoulder. Mark Beebe, a 3-year starter for the Jesuit Blue Jays at free safety. Nice hit, nice tackle. He's also on the baseball team and on the Legion team this year that went to the Legion World Series.
And in fact, a 3-sport letterman for the Jesuit Blue Jays.
That is correct. He also plays basketball.
They're going to go outside with Ashton Smith, who then cuts it inside, makes the dive toward the goal line, and he doesn't make it in, so he's at the half-yard line.
Toss sweep right there, just nowhere to go. Stiffening of the Jesuit defense does a nice job to keep him out of the end zone. You can see there in man coverage, here comes the toss. Huge hole, just doesn't hit it. Guess who's there? Number 19, Patrick Spears, the strong safety, does a nice job stepping up and filling the hole.
18th play of the drive for Holy Cross. On 3rd and goal from the 1, Ashton Smith going wide into the end zone, touchdown! 18 plays to get there, but Holy Cross is within a PAT of tying up this rivalry.
Toss sweep right there. Nobody that time there. Ashton Smith walks into the end zone. Let's remember how they got here, though, Ken. Personal foul on a field goal gives Holy Cross a 1st down. Major mistake by the Jesuit Blue Jays. Keeps the drive alive for Holy Cross. Holy Cross takes advantage of it and ends up scoring. And they kick the PAT for the tying score.
And a second personal foul allowed Holy Cross a new set of downs to make sure they put it in. We are tied at 14. Holy Cross and Jesuit back with more in a moment. For the second time in 3 years, could we be headed for a last-second finish? A few years ago, Reed Gravelet on the last play of the game kicked the 42-yard field goal to win it for Holy Cross. Last year, Jesuit made it look easy. Tigers have the wind behind them. Blue Jays, a little bit of the momentum. Holy Cross maybe sapped some of that with an 18-play drive, helped by 2 Jesuit penalties, and the Tigers will squib it with the wind. Takes a big bounce, pulled down. Here comes Wiley, and Wiley returns back to the 36-yard line.
First time tonight Wiley gets his hand on the ball in the kicking game right there. He was shoestring tackled. He could have been off to the races right there. He is electrifying as a kick and punt returner.
You know, we were talking about Wiley earlier and joking that outside of the 4 on his jersey, they should put an S for Superman because he does just about everything else. He plays on defense as a DB. He can come in and make some catches. He's got some receptions this year. He scores on special teams and does well there. Give to the running back. Going in, is that Connor Pruitt? It is Connor Pruitt. We saw a little bit of Rojas to rest up Pruitt in the third quarter. Connor Pruitt back in there now, and Connor Pruitt was in there to score that last touchdown for the Jesuit Blue Jays.
But you're right. We haven't seen yet, and I'm wondering if we're going to see him maybe before the end of the ball game, number 4, tailback in some capacity.
Not yet. Connor Pruitt on the run, breaking tackles, fighting for yardage, and fighting very close, but not enough for the first down. Let's go downstairs to Stephanie Altman.
Thank you, Ken. Every year, both schools sell the same T-shirt leading up to tonight's game. This year's shirt was a little different, as the Florida League and the saying, an unbroken tradition since 1922, in conjunction with the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Ken and Wade, back to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm sure she got us one right downstairs. She may be keeping all 3. I'm not sure. Here goes Connor Pruitt building up ahead of steam. This could be a foot race. He's dangerous in space. And a big gain by Connor Pruitt against the wind, making the big play for Jesuit to move the chains, keep the drive alive.
He bounces outside the counter tray. Here comes big number 74, Austin Reed, with the kick-out block, which he ends up wrapping it around into a log, what they call a log block, and coming around the edge was number 20, Connor Pruitt, on the counter tray on a big run.
25 yards on the gain to give the Jesuit Blue Jays a first down at the 32-yard line of Holy Cross. They're driving into the wind. So they're keeping it on the ground if possible. And we see a little bit of Kyle Rojas coming in. Saw some of Kyle in the third quarter.
Well, those timeouts are going to start playing into effect here for both teams. Holy Cross maybe trying to stop the clock to get the ball back because they have the wind. The Jesuit obviously having to work the clock to get the ball into some sort of position where they can kick a short field goal or possibly pop one for a touchdown.
So Rojas in for Pruitt as the running back. Give to Rojas again, keeping it on the ground. There's the counter play. This time Holy Cross there, meets it, stuffs it. Jacques Boudreau on the tackle.
Tell you what, I said it in the first half. I really like Jacques Boudreau. I tell you, he's a physical linebacker. He's 6'2", 227. He's going to play football in college at ULL, who just recently redid their facilities over there. He's going to be going into a great situation at ULL.
They're getting the good one. No doubt about it.
He's a good football player.
Pruitt replaces Rojas in the backfield. Jesuit looking at 3rd down 4, play action. Hodges throwing against the wind, into the wind, has a man wide open, a diving catch by Zach Young. And that's as huge as it could possibly be, inside the 10-yard line, down to the 7. He had a little bit of wobble on that ball, but again, remember, folks, he's throwing into a stiff 25-mile-an-hour wind here.
It's off play action, so it freezes the linebackers. They slip the fullback down the seam, and great catch by Zach Young. Boy, I tell you, that young man was pumped up He doesn't catch too many passes, and great effort right there by number 7. 6 catches on the season for 56 yards.
17 was his long. He might have that beat on that one. There's a timeout on the field. We'll take it here. 1:10 to, we'll be back in just a moment. Jesuit fans pumped up right now as their team is driving with only 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock. And with the strong wind, they probably have to push it in manually. They're going to need the touchdown. They can't rely on the field goal. Hodges growing up tonight, 8 of 13, 80 yards, 3 of 5 in third down conversions. Here's Hodges. He'll give. Jay's keeping on the ground. It's third down 4. They're not going to get it. Oh, wait a minute. My bad. That's first and goal, folks. First and goal. So
great tackle right there by Jacques Boudreau. Holy Cross is going to have to think about using their timeouts, which I believe they just did right there, to try to conserve some clock time, thinking field goal here by Jesuit would give them the opportunity at least to have some clock left if it would happen for them to drive the length of the field when they get the ball back.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, though.
Tie it up.
I don't even know if they want to try it. I mean, I guess if you get down to fourth down, you'll try the field goal, but you're looking at a field goal into a very stiff 25-mile-an-hour wind. Crew Jacobs has a strong leg, but you're going to have to almost make this an extra point for it to really work. If you're interested in purchasing a DVD copy of today's game, send an email to prep@sportsnola.com or call our offices at 504-681-0120. During normal business hours, you'll receive a reply with more information on how to purchase the DVDs. 1 minute to play is what we've got. 14-14, Jesuit head first and goal. Now they've got second and goal. They're at the 7-yard line. Holy Cross defense digging in. Connor Pruitt's a running back. Here's to give to Pruitt. He's going to keep it on the ground, has some room, and coming from nowhere is Taylor Fleming to lasso him down.
Well, they run the counter tray with Cameron Mayu. You'll see Cameron Mayu right there, number 66, wrapping the end right there on a log block, and Connor Pruitt bouncing to the outside. Coming out of nowhere was Taylor Fleming, the free safety, to come up and keep Connor Pruitt from getting into the end zone.
Well, Holy Cross is going to use another timeout. 52 seconds to play. The Tigers will have one timeout remaining. And you can see Coach Sanji.
Well, what Coach Sanji's doing right there is he's checking to make sure he's got his 3 timeouts left and to find out exactly how many does Holy Cross had. That was a wise timeout right there at that point by Holy Cross. Holy Cross is thinking either field goal here if that's what they want to force them to, so that way they get the ball back with some time left on the clock to try to get into field goal position or obviously score a winning touchdown.
For the latest news on high school, college, and pro sports in Louisiana, visit sportsnola.com. In addition to unique opinions from our team of area writers, check out Louisiana's best prep football scoreboard sponsored by the All-State Sugar Bowl and our first NBC Bank video updates. It's all at sportsnola.com. Third down, goal. All at the 4-yard line. And, you're looking at Peter Hannes and the way he's directed this drive, if you'd have to say Peter Hannes grew up on a series or in a game, this might be it for this young man. Connor Pruitt hit at the line, won't make it. He tried the left side, and Holy Cross stacked it up there and stopped him.
To run the inside zone right into the A gap. Holy Cross steps up and does a great job jamming it up. You can see it right inside there. Bang! Guess who's right there to
Trevor
make that
Riley.
in? I tell you, Trevor Riley, and also my guy, Jacques Boudreau.
Jacques Boudreau, absolutely. Clock is running, and right now, Jesuit can let it run down all the way to about probably 3 or 4 seconds. The game clock is now timeout called. It's 20 seconds, but they never started the play clock. They never started the play clock here. So it's 4th down, goal from the 3. The game clock was running down to 20. Now the play clock is being allowed to run and reset to match where it should be with the game clock. The officials are huddled discussing that. Mark Sanji's asking, and Eric Robato is looking, probably figuring out should there be more time, less time. And if you look at this clock, we couldn't tell you how far Jesuit could have allowed the clock to run down and send this game to overtime if they don't make the field goal.
Well, if they would have pulled the chain and ran the clock, the play clock, as they should have, it could have possibly worked the thing all the way down to within, about below 10 seconds, maybe 8 seconds left on the game clock. And that's what Mark Sanji is trying to get straight right now. So they're going to reset the game clock. They're going to reset the play clock, and I think they're going to start off pulling the chain right here. But the problem is it leaves time on the clock for Holy Cross. That's what Jesuit is upset about.
Well, Crew Jacobs, in the meantime, would be attempting what will be a 21-yard field goal, almost like an extra point, into a stiff wind. Now, because he is kicking into the closed section of the stadium, it won't be as windy down on the field at that spot. They're so close to the closed end of the stadium there.
Okay, now they're going to wind both clocks. Jesuit is going to wait till the clock rolls all the way down, and then they'll probably call a timeout with probably about under 10 seconds left on the clock.
Holy Cross now has no timeouts remaining. They have used all of their timeouts. And they're going to count on Crew Jacobs to kick what should amount to be an extra point. Ball positioned right in the middle of the field. And again, even though the wind is blowing at about 25 miles an hour in the face of the Jesuit Blue Jays, they're kicking, Crew Jacobs kicking into the closed end of this field. So down on the field, that speed, that wind speed, won't be as effective.
Well, Crew Jacobs is a mentally tough young man. He took a lot of chewings from me. He's a 4-year starter. He started kicking for me when he was a freshman. And I tell you what, he would get over any of his mistakes and come back out and make a really strong kick, whether it was a punt or whether it was a PAT or a field goal. And he's mentally tough. They did a good job running the clock all the way down to under 10 seconds. Stopping it, and they've set up a chip shot right here for Crew Jacobs. Holy Cross will try to distract them as much as they can, but they cannot stop the clock. They don't have a timeout. They can't call timeout anyway.
2 years ago, Reed Gravelet kicked a field goal on the last play of the game for Holy Cross to beat Jesuit. Now Crew Jacobs will kick it from the 10-yard line, a 20-yard field goal. It is up. It is no good. He missed it. He can't believe it. What amounted to an extra point. And everybody thought it was going to be automatic, and the young man is just totally dejected.
Well, he's got to keep his head in the game, because what's going to happen right now is this thing goes into overtime. If it goes into overtime, he might be called up again to make a kick. So right now you can see the kick right here. He just hooks it to his left.
And that is, I can't say that's the wind that close.
Well,
the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing to our right, and actually to our right and a little bit toward us. So it definitely helped that ball go to the left once it started that way?
Could have been a number of things. It could have been not a very good hold. It could have been a misplant on Crew Jacobs' plant foot. But here's the deal. He's got to make sure that he keeps his head in this, because I'm sure Mark Songi is telling him, hey, that one's over. Let's get ready for the next kick, because you could be the deciding factor when it gets into overtime. He's got to have thick skin.
Yeah, one thing the Blue Jays did very, very well, especially in this fourth quarter, is move the ball on the ground, including throwing the football against the wind in the fourth quarter to get down there and give themselves an opportunity for the score.
Well, they're going into overtime.
This is overtime.
Right. The Federation rules in overtime simply state that the ball starts at the 10-yard line. You basically, if you win the toss, you want to go on defense first, so that way you get the ball second to win the game. So your options are on the toss to either play defense or to play offense, or pick the end of the field. So right there, that's what Mark Songi is discussing right now with his captains. I'm telling you what he's telling them, and so is Coach Roboto from Holy Cross. He's saying, if we win the toss, pick defense. So that way, if you are on defense, you get the ball last. If it's still tied at the end of overtime, the possession changes around, and the team that was on defense will start again on offense. It's a pretty simple procedure. You'll start with the coin toss.
Wow, take a breath, folks, and don't leave your television set. We are headed to overtime, tied at 14, Jesuit and Holy Cross. Key Catholic League football game. Jesuit trying for their first win in the Catholic League, 2-2 overall. Holy Cross, with the win last week over Shaw, 1-0 in league play, 3-1 overall. So yes, you want to win for the Catholic League, but hey, you want to win because there's still something in a Holy Cross Jesuit game that inspires players, coaches, and fans. There's the kick, and boy, it hooked.
I'm looking at Crew Jacobs right there on that kick. I'm looking at his foot right now. It looks like his plant foot was not in the right direction. It looked like he planted his plant foot a little bit more to his left, so thus he hooked the ball to his left. Kind of like one of your tee shots there, Ken.
Kind of like all of my tee shots.
Well, look, I said, Crew Jacobs is a strong, mentally strong young man. He missed the kick, but right there over on the side, Kurt Worling, the kicking coach at Jesuit, is getting him straight mentally because, like I said, any kicker at this stage of the game and in overtime possibly will be the deciding factor, whether it is a field goal or an extra point, because how important are extra points now? Very important. Also, another rule in Federation with your overtime. After you've gone 3 overtimes, you then have to start going for 2.
Automatic 2, yes.
Call tails.
They kind of followed along on the college game with that. Let's see. There's your coin toss.
College, it's
You won the toss. You want to go on defense, right?
There you go. Holy Cross has won the toss. They've chose defense.
What end? You want that end? Okay. There, you guys turn your back over here. Hold on, right there, come here.
That means folks are going to be playing to the open end of the field with the wind to their back.
That's correct. Jesuit gets to choose the gets to choose the end. It looks like Mark Songi is choosing the end with the wind at their back. That's an important decision too now, if you lose the toss. Taking the wind.
Very important, because if you don't move that football and your kicker's got to come in, you've got a stiff 20, 25 mile an hour wind, and anything from the middle of the field to the left hash mark for a right-footed kicker the wind should help you. This wind should. Now Mark Songi's got to be scratching his head going, what else can go wrong?
Well, they've made a lot of mistakes tonight, but they're still in this thing. That's that's the sign of a football team that is maturing too. They've made mistakes, and he knows that. They've had some penalties. They've had a fumble early in the ball game, a missed kick right here at the end, but they're still in this ball game. And this is a young, maturing team coming off of that Division I state championship last year that has to grow up and has to mature, and this is a part of their maturity process. It's just tough when you have to do it when you've just started the Catholic League the second weekend. Facing John Curtis next week.
We've had some overtimes in basketball on the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase. Extra innings in baseball, including an 18-inning game, in fact. But never an overtime in football, so this is the first overtime prep, first NBC Bank Prep Showcase game. So, and I'll tell you, let's credit Peter Hodges, talking with his dad, Rock Hodges, and I was hoping we could show him, but he told me he was wearing blue and white. So that didn't help as we put the cameras on the other side. Peter Hodges has grown up as a quarterback in this game. Connor Pruitt on the run. Connor Pruitt, they take it all the way. Connor Pruitt close to the goal line. He is down at the 1 yard line. A 9-yard run by Connor Pruitt on first down on that counter play.
They've had some success with that in the second half. I said back in the first half I wanted to see them run more outside stretch and more counter to complement their inside zone game, and they have done that. Right there again, you saw Austin Reed, 6'5", 345-pound right guard, who I found reading a book one day and got him out for football, lead the way right there on that counter tray play.
Hodges to Connor Pruitt. Pruitt walks into the end zone for the Jesuit touchdown on the second play of the first series of overtime.
How important is this PAT? It's extremely, because Holy Cross will get a chance to answer. If you miss a PAT, you can win it on the extra point.
I want to go back to Austin Reed because you found him, but an interesting story about him. His grandfather is the great Willis Reed.
Yes, it is. I asked him that day. I said, "Son, do you play football?" He was reading a book in the hall there at Jesuit, and he said, "No, sir." I said, "Well, you do now." And I come to find out, asked him his name and talked to him a little bit, come to find out the great Willis Reed is his grandfather.
And he is number 74 in the offensive line. Helped open up that hole for Connor Pruitt, who you just saw on the sideline. And Pruitt has had a pretty good night for the Jesuit Blue Jays and was really key, along with his running mate Kyle Rojas, in the fourth quarter for the Jesuit Jays against the wind to get that what was an opportunity to win the game with a field goal that just hooked wide to the left.
Getting up kind of gingerly right there is defensive lineman Scott Bro, limping off the field. Getting back to this extra point. This is a huge mental builder for Crew Jacobs. It's a huge point in an overtime game. You can't imagine the stress right now from the standpoint of knowing how big this 1 point will be for Jesuit.
Well, it's big, again, more than anything for Crew Jacob, because he was so dejected after he hooked that last 20-yard field goal attempt to the left. Hitting this extra point with the wind behind him. You've got great wind for a right-footed kicker right here, especially from either side of the field. And he sends this one up and through. So Jesuit has the 21 to 14 lead after the first overtime, or their possession in the first overtime. Holy Cross now gets their try.
Holy Cross will get their try from the 10-yard line, and anything less than 7 points, it would be a Jesuit victory. So Holy Cross here definitely understands that they have to play for the end zone and kick the PAT to bring it into the second overtime.
Chandler Fields, who saw almost no action in the fourth quarter, will come back in. He's got Trey Turner, the running back. Turner will get the call on first down, looks for room on the left side, but Jesuit has him bottled up and gets nothing, maybe a yard.
Zach Roberts comes under the kick-out block right there, U-turns the block to make the tackle on Trey Turner. You can see right there, bang. He comes underneath 79 on the kick-out block, and that's what's commonly known in the defensive terms as U-turning the block, and does a great job tackling Trey Turner. There's a good look at Zach Robert right there.
Fields a good runner. Now, remember, the true freshman, but Kyle Schecksnyder, the senior, recovering from the ankle injury, did most of the quarterbacking, and now you're looking at a stuff on second down. So Holy Cross, losing yardage, is looking at 2 downs to get that ball into the end zone.
Jesuit slants to the wide side of the field. That's Nathan Farley coming off of the block with his slant, making the tackle on Trey Turner again.
What I don't get right here is if you're going to run the football with Kyle Schecksnyder in there, he's a better runner. a little bit more experienced runner. I'm not sure if I would have maybe gone with Kyle Schexnayder here in this overtime period. However, Schexnayder hasn't thrown the football a whole lot. Chandler Fields has much more experience throwing, and he's going to throw on third down. It is batted, huh?
No, it's dropped.
Dropped. Wow, just dropped right there.
That's something you don't see much out of Darius Rodriguez. Ball hits him right in the hands as underneath what we call a jailbreak screen coming in underneath his offensive lineman. You'll see it right here. The offensive linemen are working out, and Fields drops the ball right to him, hits him right in the hands, and that's a rarity for that young man. He usually doesn't drop the football like that.
But he's got nowhere to go. That's the problem with that one. So now you've got 4th down 11, and Holy Cross has got to score a touchdown on this play, or this game is over.
The rules in overtime about your timeouts, Ken, is you get 1 timeout per overtime. So Holy Cross, who did not have any timeouts going into the overtime, will get their 1, and then Jesuit gets their 1 added to the ones that they already had.
This copyright telecast of the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of WHNO-TV 20.
So it comes down to this 4th down.
1 play.
1 play right here.
Holy Cross and Jesuit have both played great games. Both made some mistakes in this game. The only thing I'm not sure about, and again, I like the fact that Chandler Fields had such success passing in the first half, but he's a little cold right now. Schexnayder, unless he's re-hurt, is in there. Now Fields, a lot of pressure on a freshman quarterback. Here comes the blitz. He's in trouble. He shakes his way past it. He throws into the end zone. It's up high. He's got it. Touchdown! A catch in a crowd for a touchdown.
I tell you what, he evades the blitz off of the edge, keeps his eyes downfield. What a great play right there. If we can take another look at it right here. Look at his eyes downfield. Evades the blitz right there. Looks downfield. And what a catch. 1 foot in. What a shot by our film crew, huh? What a shot by our
fabulous
film crew.
Catch by Brett Carter.
Fabulous catch. That's better than the little camera that the NFL has in the pylon. What a picture right there. Great catch for the touchdown, the all-important tying point.
Got to kick it through. It is up. It is good. And we are tied again at 21. Brett Carter with as big a league catch as you will ever see. And what a throw by Chandler Fields. Again, sitting on the bench for most of the 4th quarter while Kyle Schexnayder was running this team. He comes again off the bench, a little bit cold. 3 running plays don't work. He's asked, the quick drop by Darius Rodriguez for the pass on 3rd down, but he's asked to make the touchdown toss into the end zone and throws it in a crowd, and a great catch by Brett Carter.
Well, Jesuit brings the blitz with Mac McMahon off of the edge, almost there. I tell you what, great job by Chandler Fields eluding the rush right there, but look at the poise he has, keeping his eyes downfield into the end zone, and he throws it to the only place he can possibly do it. You'll see right here. Here comes McMahon off the edge right there, misses the tackle, keeps his eyes downfield, throws it to one spot, the pylon.
Boom.
Great catch, and 1 foot in, and I tell you what, I would give an Emmy to our cameraman right there. I tell you what a shot by our cameraman.
That's Eric Carl on the ground level camera, and you're right, what a shot down there to capture that one. Big time play if you ever want to see it. So the reverse Holy Cross now has a ball from the blind side. Look out, here's the toss, big Tyler Lamb. He's got it, touchdown. Tyler Lamb from Chandler Fields. And Holy Cross jumps up after taking 4 plays to get it in the first overtime. Their series on the second overtime, 1 play, the big tight end touchdown.
They run bootleg action to Lamb. They've ran that earlier tonight. He has caught another pass earlier that tonight, and he catches a huge pass by Fields right there, touchdown. Ball comes out late at the end, but the ball had broken the plane, and it was a touchdown, and then they tap on the extra point.
Drilled through. So Holy Cross now up 28-21 in a game that has seen the lead seesaw like this all night. Holy Cross took the early lead in the first half, 7-0 at halftime. Jesuit goes 14 unanswered points and takes a 14-7 lead. Holy Cross ties it up at 14. Jesuit drives down the field on the last series in regulation. They miss a 20-yard field goal, hooked wide to the left. They come back, score, and both teams score in overtime. Now Holy Cross scores first in the second overtime. Here comes Jesuit.
Jesuit has to answer with 7. Let's remember that.
They've got to have 7. Peter Hodges under center. He trips. He still gets the ball to Connor Pruitt, but that trip messes things up, and Holy Cross stuffs Pruitt down.
They're running the counter play, and they're coming out. Peter Hodges is coming out from under center, but he gets stepped on by the pulling guard. Austin Reed steps on his foot, and then he just does as much as he can to get the ball to Connor Pruitt by tossing him the ball on the counter tray play, and he gets stuffed by the Holy Cross Tigers. They're lucky that didn't go on the ground. They're lucky that didn't get fumbled and recovered by Holy Cross right there.
And that's what you got to think about here, too. No turnovers. A turnover ends the game. Second down. Hodges, play action. He'll keep. There's room. Breaks a tackle. He's inside the 5 to the 4-yard line.
Jesuit's version of their bootleg. They run it off the stretch game just like Holy Cross does. You can see Peter Hodges fake the inside zone stretch right, the inside stretch right player. Nobody's open. Everybody's covered. So what does he do? He tucks the ball, gets it up the field, and then there is our guy Jacques Boudreau cleaning him up for the tackle.
Tulane fans watching that play, and they watch Peter Hodges, and they'll think that looks an awful lot like Daddy Rock Hodges sitting on the far sidelines, especially in that 1979 year where he broke just about every passing record in his senior year that Tulane had. Peter Hodges on third down. The gift to Pruitt. Pruitt tries the middle. There's a big rugby scrum, and he can't find it. It's going to come down to one play like it did for Holy Cross on the last series. Jesuit's got to get it into the end zone on fourth down.
Jesuit brings in their heavy package where they bring 2 fullbacks into the backfield into the power I, and they lead Connor Pruitt on an ISO play right through the B gap, and right there to stuff it up is our man Jacques Boudreau. Jack Heidingsfelder also in on that play. Timeout Jesuit. They're going to talk it over, and it all comes down again to a fourth down.
Wow, we told you, don't leave your seat. Don't turn off the TV. This is an exciting one, going right down to the last play. Every time, many Holy Cross Jesuit games in this series, in this rivalry, have just been like this.
What's another classic? It's another classic. I tell you what, everybody's going to be buying DVDs of this one in the stands to see a few things. Number one, I'd buy him a DVD to make sure I see that catch by that young man in the end zone, by that great shot by our cameraman. And I'll tell you another thing.
Yeah, he's buying one for everybody in the family. Brett Carter's buying a DVD for everybody in the family. If you're interested in purchasing a DVD copy of today's game, send an email to prep@sportsnola.com or call our offices at 504-681-0120. During normal business hours, you'll receive a reply with more information on how to purchase a DVD. Jesuit, 2 of 2 on fourth down tonight. It's fourth down in overtime. They trail by a touchdown. They need the touchdown and the score. Connor Pruitt up the middle, pushing. He's hit, he's pushed back, he's stopped. Holy Cross wins it. What an amazing game, and a big victory for Holy Cross and a tough loss for the Jesuit Blue Jays. The fans storm the field as Holy Cross holds on for a 28-21 victory in double overtime here at Tad Gormley. We'll take a break and be back with our post-game festivities right after this. Holy Cross a winner. Another look at the final play where Connor Pruitt in a rugby scrum gets stuffed. Back to Tad Gormley, Ken Berthelot, Wade Kaiser, and Stephanie Altman down on the field. And Stephanie Altman has the coach, Eric Robato of Holy Cross. Stephanie, take it away with the coach.
Thank you, Ken. I'm here with head coach Eric Robato. Coach, great win. You were strong first half. Things kind of slipped away from you in the second half. How did you get it together and pull out this win?
Our guys constantly fight. It's one of those things we preach. Give credit to Jesuit, the other side. They made some adjustments. We had to make adjustments coming back, and we had a little luck at the end.
How proud of you are them of you for pulling this win out?
Oh, very proud. Those guys, our guys worked their tails off from, January in the weight room till, all the way to this point. So very proud. They really deserve it.
What does it mean to Holy Cross and the community to bring that Golden Football Trophy back to Holy Cross?
Oh, it means the world. We know it's a great rivalry. It's a special thing between both schools, two class act schools. We just got a lucky draw this week.
Thank you so much, Coach. Congratulations on the win. Ken and Wade, back to you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this. Holy Cross, a winner, 28-21, back in just a moment. Along with Wade Kaiser, Stephanie Altman down on the field. Can it get any more exciting than this game was tonight?
It's a Jesuit Holy Cross rivalry. What a game! Both teams. Eric Robato talked about the no quitting of his team. Both teams didn't quit tonight. And I tell you what, it's just a great high school football game.
It was. Connor Pruitt, 33 carries, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns. He'd be our player of the game for Jesuit. And Connor Fields, the freshman quarterback, 8 of 15, 105 yards, 3 touchdowns. Didn't even play most of the fourth quarter because of Kirk Scheck-Snyder coming back in and getting some action. And he threw the winning touchdown pass to Brett Carter, which was a big-time NFL-style catch. And I'll tell you what, we had all the excitement in a great old-fashioned rivalry game.
It's just outstanding high school football. Everybody got their money's worth here tonight, and they got lanyard. Now they get to go eat some pizza.
At Miller Mushroom, you're absolutely right. That's where the big post-game party is going to be. 28-21, a double overtime win for Holy Cross, who goes 2-0 in the Catholic League. Very big for them. Jesuit falls to 0-2. Wade, from that standpoint, where does this rank as far as a good, not only a good rivalry game, but also a good, let's say, Catholic League division game?
Well, it's football at its best. Great coaching, great players that play hard every down, and it leads you into big games next week. That's what the Catholic League is all about. It's great high school football, week in, week out, and it's the rivalries that are established between community schools, all boys Catholic schools, that are just exciting.
Jesuit falls to 0-2 in the Catholic League. Holy Cross 2-0, and now we take a look at a big game tomorrow because, again, you've got Brother Martin playing St. Aug, right? And the winner of that game stays undefeated in the Catholic League. So we take a look at what's turning out to be a pretty good race in the Catholic League. And remember, John Curtis is playing in this league this year.
Right. John Curtis, which is a co-ed non-Catholic school in the league, brings obviously their tradition to a already very traditional league. And what do they bring? They bring, of course, the state championships from the past. Last week they get beat in overtime by Brother Martin. This week is their off week, all right? And then next week, Jesuit has a John Curtis, who Jesuit beat in the state championship Division I.
Congratulations. Well, right now the Golden Football is being presented to Holy Cross AD, Barry Wilson, by the Jesuit Athletics Director, Dave Morrow. And that's a tradition that goes on with every football game that these two teams play now. Final thoughts, Wade, on this one.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great high school football game. As I said, everybody got their money's worth here tonight. And kudos to all the kids that played on the field tonight, because there was no quitting by anybody. You had some mistakes. People overcame mistakes, but they continued to play hard, and thus you had a great overtime win by Holy Cross.
And I like the show of sportsmanship, no matter who wins, who loses, when Jesuit and Holy Cross play. Great sportsmanship after, during, and before a game. You're seeing it on the field right now. There's Barry Wilson with the Golden Football. Thanks for joining us. The first NBC Bank Prep Showcase has another rivalry matchup next week as Covington goes across town to meet St. Paul's in a District 6 5A game. Watch it live next Friday at sportsnola.com or catch the tape-delayed broadcast next Saturday at noon on WHNO. For Wade Kaiser, Stephanie Altman, and our entire WHNO crew that brought you some great shots tonight, I'm Ken Berthelot. Once again, your final score, Holy Cross 28, Jesuit 21 in double overtime from Tad Gormley's City Park. Thanks for being with us. Good night, everybody.